Only when there's gravity.
Sorry, only when there's gravity. So you're just going to beg the question of this non-force? Sorry, why on earth would you beg the question of this gravity when, number one, mass does not attract mass? That is 106 years out of date. And the current rhetoric of gravity, Einsteinian bending pseudo-force space, isn't a force.
If I put an aircraft in a ballistic trajectory...
Who gives a shit? We're talking about gas. I'm still yet to get an answer where you get the pressure. You said gas will press on me. I'm on the ground. Gas pressure. Where'd you get the gas pressure from?
Gravity.
No, gravity's not a force. Gravity is things going down. Gas does not do that. It's about the 8th time I've told you.
Gas does do that.
Oh, gas go down, go boom, boom. Like bouncy balls. So which gas is produced in the sky?
Which gas is produced in the sky?
Yeah, to go down.
I have no idea how...
None of them, you fucking clown.
Say that again, I didn't hear you.
None of them are produced in the sky and coming down like fucking rain. Gas isn't produced in the sky. It's produced at ground level and makes its way up. Up, not down. It's coming out of the fucking ground and going up. It's not coming down like rain. It's not produced in the fucking clouds. Gas is going up from ground level, not down. Understand that it's coming out of the ground and going in all directions away from the ground where it was produced.
Agreed.
Right, so it isn't going down then, you fucking idiot. We haven't got pools of helium.
We have pools of helium at the...
No, we fucking don't!
Yes, we do.
Oh, really? Where do we find these pools, puddles of helium? Show me a picture of one.
Spread evenly over the... Well, it's invisible, so it's a bit hard to take...
Sorry, invisible pools of helium?
We have pools of helium...
Are you high right now?
Well, it's invisible.
You unlock this door with the key of
retardation.
Beyond it is another dimension. You're moving into a land of
bullshittery.
You've just crossed over into
the numpty zone.
You are so dumb. Damn.
And we're off. As usual, if you'd like to support this channel, there are PayPal and Patreon links in the info box below. Welcome to the show today. The Ball Punisher, the NATO Sea Sparrow. This is going back in the day. One of my favorites. Let's shift it on over to Discord, see if the beautiful, mind you, Betty Van Velsen is there. Betty!
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. I'm present. And you interrupted a good conversation, by the way.
I'm sorry that my show got in the way of your conversation. Please forgive me. I'm a worm.
No, you are the poster child of this Discord server.
I don't think I am.
Alongside with Nathan, yes. We are sort of in the middle of a conversation about how we should call this Discord server, because the title is a little long.
So what are you thinking of changing it to?
Something with you and Nathan in it, at least in the picture, but then the name needs to be different.
Interesting. That conversation's never taken place.
Mm-hmm. Well,
It's
you
dead.
were there.
It just did. Shut up, Adam. So what? This is pretty interesting. It's something I haven't thought about. It's a new twist. So what were some of the ideas?
Ball crusher.
I just didn't like the thing we're doing. And I've done a couple of other pictures using a bit of AI and stuff, and he's still not happy. What we've got out of him is what he really wants is Earth debate recognition, Nathan Oakley recognition, quantum eraser recognition.
Yeah, and
Can,
me and Adam in the background.
In
Very, very far in the background.
if we have to be, I think was
If we have to be, if we are allowed to.
Yeah. Yeah.
It might not make
with
the
that
final
in
cut.
mind, I
You
suggest
might not
maybe
make the final cut. Nice one, Righteous. Go ahead, Adam.
Yeah. We suggested it might be better then change the name of the server to what he's wanting people to recognise it as, which is linked to Flat Earth Debate and QE Live and Ballbusters. So he's off
maybe
to
call it Ballbusters, maybe. I mean, it's the biggest theme is that you guys do that together, and you both have different separate shows. So
True.
that could be something.
Yeah, but how do you put that visually?
Oh, that's up to Adam and AI.
It's easier that if he wants an image of QE, or whether it's the cyborg or you with a bow in your hand, and Nathan, if we keep science versus pseudoscience and then put your two pictures in, one of you is going to be science and one of you is going to be pseudoscience from an observational point of view.
Yeah.
He's got to drop that.
QE, no Q. Nathan Oakley and QE, Von Mercer, just no QE.
Say that one more time because you sound your mic's it's a little thin. Continue on, Adam.
That's kind of where we're at. I think Righteous. That's kind of what we were saying. I don't know if you're off to liaise with people, Righteous, about it, but when he comes back, that might be the next thing, is to try and amalgamate that together so that the server has more definitive link to the shows. I don't think that's a bad idea, to be honest, from a branding and marketing point of view.
Shouldn't Nathan and I be on the same side and then pseudoscience on the other side?
Yeah, but that's what I said. So what do you do? Then think about that as a logo. You've got your mug, Nathan's mug, science versus pseudoscience. Should we put any more in there? You know what I mean? It's
no, it'll get too busy.
That's why he said.
Yeah.
That's why Adam said just get rid of that part and just keep it either Flat Earth Debate. And what Cookie Monster suggested is maybe just Nathan Oakley and Quantum Eraser, or maybe even as a title. I think that's what he said.
Yeah, as a bride and wife, man and wife.
Shut up.
Sort of a married bachelor.
thinking in really small letters.
Come on, though. You asked for ideas.
Yeah. Nathan Oakley and Quantum Eraser. And then at the bottom, a big plus sign. Plus Betty and Adam. Really big letters at the bottom.
That's good.
All right.
You can also call it Betty's
We'll
Place.
say the next time you do.
Betty's Place, because it was previously my server, and I think it still needs to sort of have my name.
Betty's Bar.
No, that sounds so slutty. No.
Elizabeth's Establishment.
It's a little bit like many S's, right? Establishment.
Liz's Lounge.
Liz's Lounge.
Liz's Lounge.
I like that. Yeah. Yeah, Betty's Place. Nice.
Nah, it's not going to be that. Righteous.
Why not?
Righteous will hook it up.
Why not, Mr. NPD?
Oh, because like the
You're
plus,
not in it.
like the plus, like you're like the plus version. You got to put the main characters out in front.
See, that's the NPD I like.
Not NPD.
Yes, it is.
Well, we'll just leave it with Righteous. He and Adam will work it out.
You're the brand. You're the content giver. So what do you have for content today?
I got plenty of substance. We got Sea Sparrow. Remember that from back in the day, right?
Isn't a sparrow a little bird?
Yes.
Do
I
you think the gold guns that?
I kind of like the name of the weapon system. I always did. When I first heard it, I said, that is really cool. Somebody gave it a really cool name. Well, you could say Sparrow. You could say Sparrow. Sea Sparrow. Still works.
I like
More like I'd say it. Sea
Captain Sparrow of the...
Yeah, it's Captain Jack. Sea Sparrow.
Yeah.
Yep, I stole this.
Captain Jacks.
Cookie Monster, relax. I stole this off of.
Of course you did.
Well, of course I did. I liked the argument.
Of course you did. You steal your stuff.
I don't steal. Well, I stole the first couple.
There you go.
Maybe all of them. Now that I think about it, let's go through them. So we got the Solar. I don't really think I stole that off a single individual. That argument was one of the first ones out the gate, right? Everyone was talking about the Solar and how flat it is. I mean, everyone was talking about that in the beginning. Right, so I guess you could say I stole it, but I didn't steal it off an individual. I stole it like off the group.
An idea.
Yeah, as an idea. Yep. Now the Sea Sparrow, I definitely stole that from Mark Sargent, and he had the naval instructor on one of his early shows. Right, it was like episode 21 or 22. Can't remember. It's so long ago. And I was green around the gills to Flat Earth, and he brought him on a show. And obviously it's a weapon system. It's a military weapon system, so I wasn't immediately attracted to it. And I was just trying to find, what are the main points? Because the show went on and on and on. I'm sitting there, come on, give me a break. I even tried to get in touch with the gentleman. I was unsuccessful at that. So I just took everything he said. It was like an hour and a half, 2.5 hours. I can't remember, like I said, too long ago. So I just tried to consolidate all the meat points, right? Because I didn't want to go on and on with it. Just get, how I am, systematically, 1, 2, 3, ABC, that sort of thing. And I was trying to get all that, and I tried to get in contact with him so I could get more in depth. But like I said, I was unsuccessful with that. So I just took it and researched it myself. So I love this argument. Is one of my favorite arguments. They're all my favorites. Let's just get that out of the way. If they weren't my favorites, they wouldn't be one of the arguments. There's just something about the Sea Sparrow I liked, and something that drove the BallTARDs absolutely crazy. All right, we'll see if we can't touch on some of those when we get into the presentation. That's one of the reasons why I liked it a lot. The Coriolis effect, that's another group argument. So I didn't really steal that off an individual. It was just the ideas of the time, right? The BallTARD.
They used the wrong thing, right? They used to basically validate the globe. But
yes. Yes.
And you turned it around on them.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know if I could call it stolen.
No, because you turned it around on them.
Yes.
You hijacked it, not stole it.
I hijacked it. I hijacked it and took some liberties with it.
Yes. Well, this is a family show.
You pointed out it wasn't Coriolis in relation to the globe.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
That's
Moment.
we can spend time figuring out what globulus is and how they describe it as differentials of real forces. But the important point with that is to make the distinction of what Coriolis is. Its implications for a ball.
But for right now, Adam, we're just trying to figure out what I stole.
Well, I was going to say, I don't think you stole that, but I'd probably give you kudos on that. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Not the globulus side, that came later, but actually to make the distinguishment that it isn't Coriolis. yeah, that's being described here. And if it was, then the flight times would be. I think that's yours, isn't it?
Yes.
Hold on a minute. The moment that QE refines the argument, it becomes his. The moment he changes it or refines it, it is. I mean, that's just how it is. If he has changed it to make it better or consolidate it, make it more concise, whatever he did, it becomes his at that point.
I don't know if Betty's gonna climb on board with that one.
I think you hijacked them. Right?
How on about the specific vernacular?
And hold them hostage.
You hijacked them, then held them hostage for ransom, and then I used my ransom notes on G+.
Yeah, and the thing is that the ransom notes, they only can get it back when they are a flat earther. Right?
Okay.
I like that way.
Yeah. I like how that all tied together. Let's go to the next one. So we did the Bolivian sulfites. We had the sea sparrow that we're going to do today. Coriolis, the vacuum of space. Now, that may have come out. See, that's what turned me first, right? I was a flat earther in less than a Planck time. As soon as I realized that, then. But was that argument already more or less, didn't Eric Dubé already have a twist on that?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. But also you refined it.
So did I hijack that one?
From Eric,
No.
yes.
I think that's universal. That's one that.
Well, it was the one
with the
that
science
converted you,
background,
right?
just
It was your conversion argument.
Hold on, Betty. You're rumpusing Adam. Go ahead. Let Adam finish. Remember, he's deliberate.
Yeah, but his voice is so low, I can hardly hear it.
Remember, he's deliberate and measured, Betty. Give him a chance.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And then pounce on him. Go ahead,
I've
Adam.
been over talking Betty as well because you're ever so low again, Betty. It's hard to you pick it up, but no, I would say that one is. I would own that. I came to that one on my own. That was me. What the? You know what I mean? Just like you did.
Right.
And it's one of the most fundamentals. I would say for those with a science background, it's a smack in the chops, isn't it? Oh my God.
Yes.
I've known about gas pressure all these years. What? Yeah, I watched Spaceballs. I watched the Mega Maid. I laughed at it. Why didn't it twig? So I think that happens to a lot of us, that one.
I think okay. What do you think about that, Betty? You think that I hijacked that one, or what's your take on that?
No, it was your conversion proof, right?
Yes.
So, it basically landed on you.
I definitely took the ball and ran with it on that one. That's for sure. I mean, there wasn't anyone talking about the second law of thermodynamics with it. That's for sure. Not that I heard, but that could have happened. Did that happen?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
No, the alignment with second law and entropy, I think, would go down to Earth debate.
Yeah.
Yeah. You particularly in that.
Yes.
Then we've all run with it and really added content and quality to it, all of us, haven't we? So.
Yes.
But again, no, I'd give you that. Oh man, I don't like this. I'd have to give you that. You're the one that brought it in terms of second law and particularly entropy.
And particularly entropy. Yeah, I think so. So, okay, so we got that covered. Flight. I think that's mine. That's a bullshit. I didn't even know about you when that flight argument came out.
I know, because I would have corrected you before you put it to air, wouldn't I?
I like this.
Betty, this is another shout out to Betty.
Okay.
Because we have the flight argument. You tracking?
Yeah.
Go ahead, tell him, Betty.
I need to make another thumbnail, and I'm late.
Not another one. You never made a first one for it. I need a flight thumbnail.
I did make one time maybe a thumbnail, but I need to make a custom one for this topic, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we can move on to the next one. This one's going to be
We've not finished that.
Oh, we haven't finished that one. Okay, go ahead.
Because there's distinguishment, right? Yours is cumulative.
Yes.
That's important. And And I think that existed. I think that's a quandary, isn't it, for everyone, because of just pondering the 8 inches per mile squared. You start to think, well, hello, that's going to have an effect. But it's a really powerful one, especially entry level. Makes you question what's going off. It shows the difference between what you understand aeroplane works and what they're claiming the ball does underneath.
Sure.
And when you use those cumulative figures, it's very profound.
Yes, I agree.
And isn't there whole documents also released?
Yes.
Remember that I sent you those on Skype?
Yeah, you just sent me. She sent me a bunch of documents, government documents, with the flight. Remember that NASA treats it, and the FAA treats it as flat and stationary. You know, all the documents we seen back in the day.
Rotationary Earth.
Yeah, I pull up my Skype and just randomly, Betty has all those old documents posted. I'm there. What's this? Like a time machine trip back? But we're getting off the beaten path, though, Betty.
Well, not really, because those were very interesting, because it is about flight, right? They already discovered just by flying around that you can't have different motions going on if you are on a straight path to something.
Sure, and it has to be flat, sure. But the question is, did I steal that?
Yeah. No, because that one's so old, you know, and had been done. I think my
It's been
perspective,
done by the
Rory.
government, so you stole it.
Who did it? Okay, who did it first? Now, I didn't see this, but go ahead. Who did it first?
Eric Dubay also did something on these flights.
Eric Dubay definitely did. Was there somebody before him?
No. Nope.
I said I think the one that resonated with me was Rory, from my perspective. So that'll be 2017 time.
Yeah, but that's later.
That's later.
Eric Dubay was there in 2014.
Yeah. But that's a build on again. As I say, go back to what QE's stating, which is the cumulative thing. I would say just Eric Dubay really as part of those proofs.
Yeah, but yeah. Now that I think about it, yep, that's another stolen one. So I stole flight and the Sea Sparrow. So flight and Sea Sparrow definitely are stolen.
Why is Sea Sparrow stolen?
I stole it off Mark Sargent. Remember the naval?
Fair enough.
Yeah, that one's a blatant steal. I own up to that. There isn't no secret about it. I don't have any concerns with it. I'm just trying to point out which ones are stolen, which ones are mine. So flight.
So you have no concerns about being a thief, right?
It's all in good conscience, though.
No, there is no good conscience about thieving.
But I'm owning up to it.
Hold on a minute. For it to be theft, right? Because it just seems like he's taken a concept and refined it into an argument, which makes it his. I'm sorry. Unless it was put forth in an argument and he just blatantly ripped it off, I don't see that.
That is, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
The Sea Sparrow, if Mark Sargent presented it, then all you've done is copy and repeat it. I think there's a big difference there, taking gas pressure and then evolving it into your argument, which involves second law and entropy. Yes. That's where you deserve credit.
Yes, I agree. I agree with you. So the blatant ones, like I said, for right now, definitely flight. I'll own up to that. And the Sea Sparrow. So those are two arguments I definitely stole.
No.
No,
wait, because using those criteria, I don't remember Mark Sargent going into the second edition and showing the differences and stating why it's important. I remember it's more of just a testimony of a guy.
It was just a testimony, but still, that doesn't. I still stole it. I stole it off that guy.
But you developed it.
I did, but still,
Right. So it's not theft.
Or if you steal a car and you just sort of amp it up with like all kinds of
and I modify it, yeah, I still stole it.
You didn't modify or improve the cumulative curvature. That was just there, and you cited it. That's all.
Okay.
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 And then
yeah. Go ahead, John.
Right. You took existing information and you developed it into an argument. That is not theft. People are allowed to use information that exists to do things with. The moment that you created that into an argument, it become yours. If it wasn't, now if you took an argument someone else was making and you didn't do anything with it, and you just spouted it out verbatim, then you could be held to task. That's what I'm saying.
Well, then hell, all of them are. Then I didn't steal anything.
No, you did.
No, you did. I can own up. Listen, this is just me. People can have their opinions. That's fine. But okay. I'm gonna own up to Flight and the Sea Sparrow for right now. We still got 2 more to go.
Okay, go on.
This is gonna be an interesting one. The Black Swan.
Yeah, no. That's hijacked by Brenda.
That's easy, that one. That's
Yeah,
BLM 69
argument. That's Brenda.
Had to throw Brenda in there, didn't you?
That's pretty fun. I wasn't ready for that. Okay, touche.
Black Swan is yours because it's you that makes it the Black Swan. Previous to that, it was just a photo we all used to use and go, oh, look at that, look at that, look at the distance. Yeah? But it's not until it's put into the old popper analogy that it becomes a very powerful tool.
Yes, but someone had to make that picture of the cranes.
Yeah, but it's not the picture. There are lots of Black Swans, lots of them. Yeah?
I know, but this picture was stolen.
It's the analogy.
This picture was stolen.
The picture, John stole the picture of that guy. I think you reference him. So it's basically borrowed, right?
I've got one for you.
There were pictures before. Let me just finish. That's not what makes the Black Swan powerful.
Right.
It's the logical syllogism that is the powerful side of it. Look, what's turning Brenda upside down? Sorry, Betty, I didn't hear you.
Yeah, you got Rumpus. You need
a picture to show it first. If you don't have the picture, you can't use it.
Yeah, I know, but there were plenty of pictures prior to the Black Swan.
Also stolen because I never
Swan.
seen QE with a camera.
No, okay, let me put it this way. QE, let me put it this way then. That picture, what was it called prior to QE calling it the Black Swan?
Wasn't called nothing.
It wasn't called the Black Swan. It was just another random picture. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the picture that makes the Black Swan. It's the robustness of the logical syllogism.
Correct.
There was a photographer behind.
Yeah, Betty, that's weak. That's a weak argument because I took a universal. I took a universal. The picture is universal. Yeah, they didn't have an argument with it. So, yeah, I think I agree with Adam on this one. I didn't steal
there's many other pictures, too. So, you need to...
Yeah, thanks for making our argument.
No, you need to reference the picture maker, too.
It's not that I don't give him credit. I gave him credit from the get-go.
I told you already that you gave him for credit, but still
the picture isn't the argument. The picture is not the argument.
Exactly.
The picture is the proof.
It's not really a Black Swan.
There we go, Brian. He's gonna come in and set your friggin' feathers straight there, Betty.
So flat earthers before that were talking about water being level, and they were also using the earth curve calculator to show you how much of a dip you should be seeing, but there is no such dip being seen. But how does the Black Swan make things easy for us was demonstrated by Jaren in his debate with Brenda. When he used the Black Swan argument, he did not have to go on for like half an hour. It was a 1 minute argument. That is what the Black Swan does.
There you go, Arthur. What? The Black Swan argument, not the Black Swan photo. It's the constituency of the logical syllogism and its robustness that is so strong. You can stick any picture in there. It doesn't matter whether it's those platforms, whether it's other pictures. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, you can use the one that the ballers did. That's still a Black Swan. We know.
I know.
We have.
The picture matters.
It's the argument to me that is kudos to QE.
I think
but
you lost.
Someone can argue. But someone can argue
hold
that
on,
water
Flat Arthur.
level. Okay.
Hold on.
Mm.
I think, Betty, you're going to take the L on this one.
The L what?
You're going to lose on this. And why are you
No.
on the other side any damn way?
Listen, I am sure that when people look at pictures and know about perspective, they know the distances of those platforms, right? Because that is what that picture was all about. The platforms are known. The place where he stood was known, and it's part of the argument. Okay, so that picture is the proof, basically. But if you only look at the picture and knew the...
Did somebody mute her?
Also, no. You can also know that there is a horizon that is looking further than these forms. I don't need the argument. I need the picture.
Nah, I think you
And
lost.
you might not all about that, but I am about pictures. I like that.
Nothing.
Yeah, pictures.
Well,
Pictures.
You don't have any
hold on a
to
second.
make argument.
Hold on a second. We're going to have Adam, John, then Brian. Adam.
As you said.
You completely forgot me.
Oh.
Sorry about that. Adam, John, Brian, then Flat Arthur. Go.
So, as you're saying that, I need pictures. You can have lots of pictures. None of them have to be of those particular platforms. We can cite some of Mitchell's stuff that he did. He went out to get Black Swan images. Now, that's not a picture of those same two platforms. Black Swan images have been defined. They're things that exceed the geometric limitations of the supposed ball Earth. That's how you define a Black Swan image. No longer just those platforms. People can go and get their own and prove it.
Betty, you're through.
No, I'm not through. Because you might need these things
just
to
gonna
look
say-
at, but I see the pictures and it's enough for me.
That's okay. Betty has a rebuttal on each of your statements. So, John, you're next. Go ahead.
Well, the thing is you can show people pictures, lots of different pictures, without the positive claim being put forward. If you just showed them the picture, it means nothing because the positive claim is not being put forward. So you have to make an argument in relation to the picture, or you're just showing them a picture. And well, nobody would believe in a globe if all you had to do was show them a picture.
Okay. You got me there.
Okay. Brian?
Okay, I'm going to kind of help you, Betty, and support you. Then I'm going to destroy the whole lot. Right? And it's not just you, Betty. I'm going to destroy all of it. Before the Black Swan, for several years before that, I was making the argument concerning the horizon. I was asking the borders, where is your physical horizon that these things should be gone over? You're supposed to have a physical edge. Where is it? Right? Going back to several years prior to that. Now, the problem is that after the Black Swan came out, which was the logical argument from Karl Popper being added to that, where is your physical horizon argument, bringing it out, showing that there is no such thing as a globe's geometric horizon. But the small print within the globe came out as well, which was that every horizon is refracted. That means that the real Black Swan would be a globe's geometric horizon, because the Black Swan, what we call the Black Swan, is just an horizon like every other horizon, because no horizon matches their claimed geometry within their own claims. So what we call a Black Swan is actually a white swan.
So what you're saying is I didn't steal it. Thanks, Brian.
No, you can't do that, because then that means if you got one that matched, it means all the others mean it is actually a ball. But this is the point. It's about demonstrating that the horizon isn't geometry. It isn't geometry. Whether it matches or not is kind of irrelevant.
But I think you're missing it. They are claiming that no horizon was ever, is now, or ever will be geometric.
Right, so and that's the point where QE deserves kudos. We all saw the BLMB 69 images. It wasn't until QE pointed out that the horizons behind it, that it had pertinence to then be formed. Can you take credit for that, QE, of pointing out the horizon behind the platforms? Because I don't remember anybody else pointing that out before the syllogism arrives. It was just a really picture. I knew you'd have been doing it 2 weeks before, but I'm asking, is it announced? Is anybody else, when the BLMB, not you just noticing it, yeah, but is it anyone else first presenting it?
Yes, but nobody really like.
From the other side of the argument, it was always about objects in relation to the horizon. I had never heard it from the other side. I had never heard anyone talk about the horizon. It was always objects in relation to the horizon.
All right, Flat Earther.
My turn. So,
Yes.
yeah. Can anyone argue that water is level? This statement, I know this is not an argument, but this statement is even simpler than the Black Swan, because I came across a flat earther who was presenting flat earth proofs. He never talked about the Black Swan, but he presented water being level and water
That's not the
cannot
question. That's not the question. We're not posing which argument is less complex. That's not the question. Is did I steal it or is it mine?
It belongs to you.
But not anymore. It's now Brenda's.
Okay, then we got the last one. Watch this, folks. The sextant.
Yeah, that was definitely stolen.
Okay, wait a second. Wait a second. Wait. From who?
From 10th Man.
No, it wasn't. I thought you were going to say it was you.
I knew you were going to. No, right.
No,
So yes, but no, QE.
No, we're gonna. No, Betty, I set you up. Remember? I set you up to take this over because you said that you had mentioned this to me years before.
That's true.
And I didn't do anything with it.
No, that's true, but that means that I didn't have the argument all complete.
No, hey, Bible you. Hold on a second. Bible you. No, it is. The sector doesn't belong to 10th Man.
Get the quote.
Sorry about that.
Get the quote. And no, it's the nuance of the quote that's the important bit. I know what you're on about. Yeah. So pull up the quote, QE, that gives you your claim, because it is pre-10th Man mentioning it. I'll give you that. It's how much of that is what we discuss now.
Pull up what quote?
I know you mentioned, we've covered this. You mentioned you're describing something else in one of your proofs, and as a side note, you mention celestial navigation in some way, whether it's elevation angle. It's in one of your. We've discussed this.
No, it could have happened before. I think I pulled it up with some other argument, but let me set the record straight if you guys are unsure about this. The sextant and the Black Swan argument are conjoined twins. The Black Swan argument and the sextant, they were 1 and 2, closely related to each other. As soon as the Black Swan was birthed, as soon as I thought of it, the sextant was birthed. Because I immediately knew from the Black Swan that the sextant was a killer. And what I did was I told those guys over FED group, and I don't know if you all remember, but I told you guys, I said, leave the 10th was really hot on this initially. I said, leave the sextant. He goes, I'm going to research. I said, that's fine, but I want you to leave it go for right now because I wanted the Black Swan first. That had to be established first. But make no mistake about it, folks. As soon as the Black Swan was, they were conjoined immediately. That same morning, I'm going to tell you, that's what it came out as. So to set the record straight. Now, 10th did a lot of yeoman's work with it. He researched it. He took out all the friggin' straws and the toothpicks, and he drilled down on it. And, yep, Credit where credit is due. But that sextant argument was birthed with the Black Swan. Just so
No,
you're
it was birthed with me because I already told you that you should look into this.
I'm challenging this one.
you can't challenge it. And it could have been surreptitiously.
Because the sextant isn't the argument.
Say again?
The sextant isn't the argument.
No,
Jason is, which I was going to give you credit for that. But the sextant isn't an argument in and of itself.
no, it's not. We know that, John. Stop being pedantic. But
There's your name, so.
But I may have been living vicariously through Betty, who did mention. She said this a number of times to me, and the more she said it, the more I had to say, yeah, she did. She brought this up to me a few years before that, and I didn't make any connections with it. I was like, oh, yeah, okay. Because I didn't really know, I'm familiar with navigation, but land navigation. I wasn't all that familiar with the squid method of navigation. So it might be Betty. But not the sextant argument. I probably snuffed it out too quick on Betty's side. Go ahead.
I know that back in the day we had these German guys from the platform where you were on back in Texas, remember? And then we had a whole interaction with these guys, and they brought up also the gyroscope. The gyro. The one that they use in the engines, in the engine machine.
Gyro compass?
Gyro compass, that's it. And also the sextant. And I brought that back then, I brought it to you, QE, to basically investigate this and help me out with this argument, because I knew this had something. And they told me something about the almanac, and they started to do saying that it was so complicated and that it needed to be calculated and whatever, and it wasn't all about that, right? The whole almanac was just the star positions and that sort of stuff. I think that 10th Man is more onto that as well. He explained the whole almanac back then. So, and I think that was in 2016 or something.
Yeah, it was pretty early when you brought that. I faintly remember Betty bringing it up not only once, a few times, and I dashed it out. Now, I wasn't rude about it. I thought that there were, bigger and better things to deal with, but I think Betty might be right.
Yeah. Yeah, you said, well, and by the way, you were doing a great job with all this other stuff. And usually you didn't touch any things that you didn't really research, right?
Yes.
Because you don't get into complications with people. So I understood that too. But I thought that you might, investigate it back then.
Yes.
A little further.
I'm gonna have to disqualify both of you there, because there's nothing presented. They just I might have thought of that before, and I think we've all had thoughts like that. You can't. We've been having standards on the previous ones.
That's why
there is a point, Q, and there is a point in one of your presentations where you mention elevation angles well before 10th.
That was years ago. That was years and years ago. You're right.
It's in there, and you mention it as a point of significance. The only thing I say, and as we've said with regards to BLMB and you taking on the Black Swan, no, you can adopt 10th man's sextant.
It's not 10th. It's not his argument. That you're off base right there.
Well, the elevation.
Just hold on a second. Hold on a second. I told you that argument was birthed with the Black Swan. Everyone, I don't know how many times I've said this. Not the full argument, but the connection with the Black Swan. They were conjoined. I'm telling you.
Not a minute. No, there is a connection.
I don't think so.
Not enough to claim ownership of the sextant argument, I don't think.
Yeah, see, you're confusing.
Right, like if you're just taking some.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can get an elevation with some sticks and shadows. So I don't see where a horizon would enter into that.
I don't know what to say to that.
I'm not critiquing it on that level. I'm
I'm being a pain
saying
in the-
where the argument was developed, you made recognition to it, but didn't present the argument. The argument was presented later, by 10th, after the Black Swan. Yeah? But it is, I don't disagree. It is inherent within there. There's still a long way to go. There's two separate presentations. You can't just jump on that without the knowledge.
Yeah, I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but
not.
But they were conjoined twins, and I specifically told 10th. I said there's sextant issues with this, and then he wanted to run. In fact, he tried to bring it up a couple times, and I snuffed it out. I said no.
I remember holding it back. Holding it back.
Yep. But full credit to him for researching it out. Not taking anything away from it. So, but that's not stolen.
Well, my point is, you were the one that created the curved adjacent argument, right? I don't know if you can even call it an argument, but
yes, I consolidated it at the end. Yes,
is the problem there? Yes. So even if the information was put out by 10, right, of what he was searching, it's irrelevant. The argument was consolidated by you. That was my point.
Yeah,
No,
I did.
I'll argue that.
You can't argue that.
The curved adjacent argument was first presented in the 1970s by the Pink Panther.
Can you reference that?
Yeah,
I can show you the picture.
That's fine. The point of this discussion was not to take credit or not credit, just what was stolen outright. That was the goal or mission of this.
Steal something of you,
Because
Sorry,
Go ahead, Betty. We didn't hear you.
I said somebody can steal something from you, like Brenda.
It's hers now. Go
I
ahead,
would
Adam.
say the sextant's a little different. 10th deserves all the credit. Me, Ryan, you. I'll give none to Nathan. He just sits back and be told after we've gone through the work and done the dirty work. There's a lot of dirty work that we all went through to refine that argument.
Mitchell as well.
Mitchell, yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? So that one, like I say ultimate credit to 10th, but you're part of that. And I think as alluded to, the curved adjacent, I think, probably goes to you, doesn't it, in terms of that phraseology? So
shit,
it's not stolen. It's not yours. I think it's ours, that one. And if anybody gets a bigger slice of the cake, it's 10th. But
that was my brain. That's bullshit. That was my brain. That's bullshit. That was my brainchild. Like I said, they were conjoined at the same instant, even though you guys did the legwork on it. No.
Well, history shows it different. History is going to remember 10th man.
History shows it different. Well, history is going to be rewritten. That's fine. I'm good with it.
Well, look, somebody, you know the way. If,
hold on, John.
Just quickly, John. You know the way you told us that what's the thing that Einstein got my brain photoelectric effect. You know the way that wasn't his. That was Heinrich Hertz, is it? You
Correct.
said it was Heinrich Hertz?
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah. That sometime that if what you're saying is correct, then in about 100 years' time, someone's going to be telling someone, "Did you know that actually wasn't 10th man's? It was actually quantum erasers."
And then there'll be factions forming after that.
There'll be
people start arguing, stabbing each other in the back, denying science because of it.
I have to, like, when I think of the sextant, I instantly think of 10th man, and that'll always be the case.
Sure.
Because he put such effort into it that I couldn't.
10th Albert Einstein me.
Yep.
Well, the thing is, and this is the point, right? Hold on. He did a lot of work and putting information about the topic out there. But the argument, how do you get an elevation angle from a curved distance, was formulated by quantum erasers. There's no argument in that.
That's correct.
So, like,
correct.
We no point in arguing that.
I remember in 2015, though, looking at the Antikythera mechanism. Again, it goes to one of those gas pressure things. As soon as you've got an interest in this thing, there's lots of ways to realizing the stars demonstrate a flat Earth. Again, I'd put it in the gas pressure scenario. It's about getting that out there and getting it constructed. Lots of people had those ideas. You talk about Betty before you know what I mean? And I can think of ways in which I was exploring it that I know I'm dealing with it in flat, because like I said, the Antikythera mechanism, lots of those things, they're all flat, and that's what you're looking at, and you're trying to see that link. I think fundamentally for getting it out there.
I don't think it was until Jumping the Gun poem came out that, you know, it really destroyed the Globers.
You're right, it's yours. One day.
I think that's what put the name in the coffin.
Brian had wrote a poem down, though, a week and a half before on the back of a fag packet, which was very similar to yours. I heard.
Nathan said we could begin now. He missed a good. This was really good, Nathan. You got to rewind and listen to this. This is pretty good.
Yeah, maybe you can claim one of these arguments for yourself too. Right?
Be interesting to hear Nathan's opinion on that one, actually. On specifically the sextant, did QE, what are the options? Steal it, or what? What was it? Or invent it?
Yeah, I definitely didn't.
The sextant's not the argument. The sextant's not the argument, though.
It's the overall topic, though.
You don't just say sextant. Well, elevation angles are the overall topic. That's the topic. The formula. Let me just say this: putting information out is not the same thing as formulating an argument. So, are we talking about who put the information out, who formulated the argument?
Yep, I agree.
So I backdoored it. After I originated it, I backdoored it.
Well, let me put it this way then, quickly. Back in, geez, I don't know when I first started doing it, but I definitely did it back in it was definitely 2017, and I'm sure before that, because I first heard the horizon. I first remember thinking the horizon can't be there in 2015. Like, it can't be. We're in a photograph or something based off of the maths of the globe, right? And I definitely was using it in 2017 with J. Tolan Media's observations and what's his name, Miles Davis's observations, right? So does that mean that I can now claim the Black Swan?
No.
No, I can't, because that was yours. That's yours. You put those together. I can't make any claims about it. As soon as the term Black Swan comes up in this arena, your name is right next to it. In the dictionary, Black Swan, your photograph is right there. Right? I can never claim it. Right? But it's the same for the sextant with tent. You know what I mean? It's his face will always be right next to the sextant's argument. It'll always be.
Hold on. Willie Nanny out in chat. Whoever that is says, judging by QE's moral character, he probably stole the Black Swan argument.
Yeah, from me.
that was a good one. I'm surprised Betty didn't jump on. I just looked over at chat and I seen it pop up and it was written. Good on you, Willie. That was a good one. Yeah, you ought to be. Do you pen pals with Betty?
Yeah.
Could be a Betty.
Tell us, QE, where you stole it from. Tell us, QE.
I didn't steal it. Yeah, not that one. Now, if you want to say,
No.
if you want to say flight, let's just give a summary. If you want to say flight and what we're going to talk about today, Sea Sparrow, I can live with that. I definitely stole those two.
You know what I find funny is that when you go through these flat Earth like channels, like other people's, and they sometimes come up with your argument, and they present it as their own, or you see people talking about it and they give credits to other people instead of you, and that's weird. They almost never talk about you, and I find that really weird.
They shouldn't. Because as we say, the second you use it in your argumentation, fundamentally it's yours.
Yeah.
We're only talking the original author here. And the second you use it, it's yours. So understand it if you're going to use it.
Yeah, you better.
Yeah, but what they shouldn't do, and I've heard and I've come across this happening, they shouldn't do is try and change something like an argument like the Black Swan around a little bit to
Like
try
Brenda.
and personalize it. That goes very wrong.
Yeah, because if they don't really know it, they misuse it and they get caught.
But don't all these things prove the same thing? The lack of curvature. Even the topic of today, which we haven't got yet into 1 hour into the show, proves the same thing, the lack of curvature, which the Black Swan does, which is why I just don't want you to shrug it off as just another question. I want you to address it. Water is level. If we just keep it to that and question QE, why are you complicating things with the Black Swan? Water being level is even simpler than the Black Swan.
That's not
Arthur. Arthur, prove water's level to me, please.
Yep.
You can't prove otherwise, as far as I can.
Raggy!
I mean, you can't prove otherwise. As far as I can observe, water does. Yeah.
I didn't ask you as to tell me as far as you can observe. I said, prove to me that water's flat.
Level, not flat. He said level.
That's fine. Level's fine. Fine. All right, Bev.
All right, Bev.
Okay, from
I got
one
you.
end of
Within
any water
the
body.
calculator, sea level's horizontal.
Hold on a second. John first, and then Flat Arthur after him. Go ahead, John.
Within the Earth curve calculator, sea level is horizontal.
That
Lovely.
That's
So
profound,
you're referencing it to what? So you're not. Yeah? Water's not your definer, is it? You've got to reference it to something to demonstrate that it is that way. It's not the reference itself, is it? You have to go and prove that.
Yeah, mathematically.
So I need to prove. Hold on.
If I'm looking out across
I'm arguing with a baller.
Hold on a second,
Okay.
John and Adam. Just wait a second. You got to take turns. Either John's delayed, right?
I was swallowing.
Yeah, go ahead, John. John first.
Right. If a baller is going to ask me how I prove that level or water is level, well, within their own Earth curve calculator, sea level is horizontal. So do I need to prove that to them?
Yes, because I'm going to stand at the shore and I'm going to look. And what I see is that at my feet is the water. When I look out perpendicular, I see that the water is actually level with my eyes. So I know that the water over there is higher than the water is down here because I can see it is. It's the water right near me is at my feet. The water in the distance, is at my eye level. So how do I define that is level, flat, when actually it's contrary to my senses?
The water, huh?
The water.
It's at your level, it's not your eye level. So, but I'm wanting to know how, as a flat earther, you can know, or are you asking as a baller how you can know? What position are you taking?
I'm not taking any position. I'm starting with the position that water is level, and I'm trying to say to them, how am I going to prove that to myself first? What methodology am I going to do? I can make it as a definitive statement if I want. How do I back it up? That's what I'm asking Arthur. What am I going to use to back that statement up?
So I can go to a swimming pool.
Right, but this
and
argument is
John, hold
Sorry.
up. You're delayed. Flat Arthur was well before you, about 5 seconds. Go ahead, Flat Arthur.
So I can validate it on a very small scale, let's say a swimming pool, by actually measuring from end to end that it's a straight line.
That's because the Earth's so massive, a ball,
Yeah.
you won't detect it. So how do you prove to me that water's flat? What methodology? You can't use a small swimming pool.
No, I'll use a bigger one, a huge one.
Okay, brilliant. How are you going to measure that then?
From end to end, let's say using a laser or maybe our vision.
You see, it's not very definitive, Arthur. Rather than keep swimming in a pool of poo, there isn't. You understand? What I would suggest to you is, how do I prove water's flat? Celestial navigation, elevation angles. And this is my point. The water is flat as it follows. The surface is flat as follows from the logic that's there. To just state that water's flat leaves you with the Bev dichotomy with his water height things, and it's easy for the more. And this is the important. It's easy for the ballers who say no. It's just level, as in it's the same distance from the center of a ball. Yeah, that's why celestial navigation is so powerful. You cannot navigate that surface if it's curved. That's why water's flat.
I'd have to agree that, and I've said this to Bev. Well, I didn't say it to Bev. I said in a video I addressed to him that the water level tool is a begging the question tool. It's the same as a gravimeter. As a baller, I can beg the question that that's a curve level, right? Even 500 meters of a water level, because a water level is not an optical tool. You don't define the level via optics. It's not an optical tool. So I can beg the question that it's a horizontal or a curve, and it won't make any difference, within a kilometer. You know what I mean? It won't make any difference. So I could have a kilometer long water level, and I won't be able to tell the difference of whether it's curved or horizontal with just the water level itself. That alone is not going to be enough. I need something to support that water level. And for me, Adam says celestial navigation. I would use air travel. That'd be another. That's what I would use. But you could also use celestial navigation. So, same thing. But the point is that the water level itself doesn't prove horizontal or curved. It doesn't prove either way.
Let's see what Flat Arthur has to say. Flat Arthur, I put you on mute because your mic was back feeding.
Sorry about that. I know. So, am I wrong in saying, is this a statement wrong, that the underlying assumption in celestial navigation is that the baseline is horizontal? It is the underlying assumption, and since celestial navigation works in real life, we know that the assumption is true. Earth is flat. So isn't it an assumption which we are verifying through practical application?
Well, the site reduction tables treat or put the horizontal at sea level. They have the oil level, the oil level at the sea surface. That it pre-assumes the oil level is at sea surface for the angles, the correction of the elevation angles. So that's what site reduction tables do. They give precision. That's the whole point of them.
The assumption that the surface is level, that's what. Right. I'm happy with that. What proves it? Celestial navigation. Light does it just as well. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. That's what I'm asking you for. was only my point, Arthur. You can't. For me, I wouldn't start with the statement that water proves anything in of itself, because the ballers can use it, and it's hard for you to demonstrate water on its own proving it is level. Yeah, that's my point. We can work from that that assumption and demonstrate that it is, using things like flight, celestial navigation, other things. Yeah, but actually in of itself, a water level, correct enunciation, isn't to me a proof. I wouldn't cite it as a proof.
But they are going to invoke gravity at the drop of a hat in order to make water curve.
But they live on a ball, so I've got to prove to them that it is flat. I can't just say, yeah, water's flat. There you go, job done. Flat, mate. Look at it. It's flat. There you go. I know it is to you and me, and it's an assumption we move forwards with, and a reference point after we've demonstrated it. But to a baller, yeah, they will just go, well, no, look, water level is just equidistant from the center of a ball, and you can't do a demonstration. And I'll reference Bev again with his water levels. You can't do a demonstration that shows that. As Brian says, every time you take the measurement, you take it locally. You don't compare the two measurements side by side to each other. You can't. As you tried to do in your small swimming pool, which is insignificant. You need an ocean, don't you? Hundreds of miles to demonstrate, and therefore you can't compare it optically. All you can do is measure it locally. And that doesn't make the distinguishment between flat or equidistant.
I'd like to make a point on how to actually prove it is flat, without a doubt, easy. Are any of you guys familiar with birds, such as the Arctic tern?
You know about sea sparrows?
Well, I'm a birdologist, okay? So I work with birds, and I work with Arctic terns. They're the longest migrating bird in the world. Every year they fly from pole to pole. So all you have to do to prove that Earth is flat to these guys is show them the video that I have on my YouTube channel of the birds flying, and you'll see that they fly on a flat plane. They don't get to the so-called equator and then all of a sudden start flying upside down. There's a flat level plane across the entire
That
plane.
might be true, but we have easier arguments, less sophisticated ones. We have sophisticated ones, but I think the other arguments trump that one. Personally,
I like the bird one because the bird has no bias. The bird does not know where he's going or what he's doing. He just flies. So you have, like I said, there's cameras on these birds.
How do you prove a bird doesn't nose down?
Wait a minute. There's cameras on the birds?
Yes. We put cameras on the Arctic terns on their journey.
Okay, and?
Gyros.
I don't understand why they're laughing. It's not a funny thing.
And they take measurements?
it's funny because there's an inside joke because we were watching bass the other day. Somebody slapped a camera on a bass. That's why it's friggin' funny.
No, I do like it because, I mean, you could sort of have like instruments on that bird also strapped on that bird.
Yes.
And packed. Yes. Okay. What kind of birds are they using?
Arctic terns we use.
Is that a large bird?
It's a medium-sized bird. It's the longest migrating bird on the planet Earth. I'm sorry, on the flat Earth or whatever you say. It is.
All right.
So why did they choose the poles, if there was any poles?
That's the way that their migration is bred into their body. I don't think anybody knows why birds go where they go. That's where those birds choose to go.
Weird, because they look for the coldest places, huh?
Well, if there was curvature to water, airplane pilots would be accounting for it. It's that simple, isn't it?
Hey, Betty, if you're watching YouTube, I ain't sharing my screen, but I'm sharing it on YouTube. There's a picture of an Arctic tern there.
Okay, I'm seeing other stuff first. So.
It's coming.
Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, we call that a stern, so.
Cheeky little flat earther. I've just had a little look.
Look at that. Record-breaking. Arctic tern makes longest annual migration, covers 59,650 miles.
So that's measured by those cameras then? or whatever equipment they strap on that thing.
Look, where does he hide his wings at? Look at these wings on this thing, man, and look at him when he's sitting down. That's false advertising.
Well, that bird is only existing about like with his feathers and his wings.
I'll tell you what, he's serious aerodynamic, man. Look at him.
Yeah, beautiful, huh?
Well,
Yeah.
what that might help with is another argument against outcome rather than anything else, because if you know the direction they took and their kind of general speed and how far they went and how long it took them to get there.
Yeah.
What did you slap an odometer on him?
Yeah,
they
they
can
do.
do
It
anything
says
with-
here,
Yeah.
one ringed in Wales was recovered 20,000 kilometres, 12,500 miles away in New South Wales, Australia. And what's interesting about them is why they make that journey. I don't know why, but the interesting part is by moving continually between the Arctic summer and the Antarctic summer, the Arctic tern sees more daylight than any other animal on Earth. So it follows the path of the sun. They constantly stay in summer, which I suppose a lot of migratory birds may do. I think its is the most extreme, and that it goes from the Arctic to Antarctic.
That's pretty cool. As for a flat Earth proof, you can go ahead and use it, but I think it's too general, and I think BallTARDs may take some liberties with your argument. And you'll be down in the gallows with them, hammering
That's
this
true.
out.
Yeah.
You've got to strap a
Okay.
gyro or an
Because you can-
accelerometer.
Can someone please post a YouTube channel in chat? I didn't know there was a YouTube channel.
Do you have it? Do you have your channel?
No, I thought someone said you guys have a YouTube channel. Someone said they have a YouTube.
Yeah, this is going on YouTube. It's called the Quantum Eraser YouTube channel.
Oh, okay. You have a link for that? I'll take a look at
Can
it.
somebody give him a link for the YouTube channel, please?
Yeah.
I'll put it in the BALLBUSTERS text chat now for you.
Make sure he's in there, Adam.
Divergent Droid already did.
He's in the text. He's in the voice chat.
He's
So
in the text. Okay, yeah.
you
guys-
droid's done it, and I've done it. Yeah.
Well, you have the choice of two of the same links.
All right, that's
Pick mine.
that's,
Pick mine.
Pick mine.
But do you have a YouTube channel then with the birds and stuff?
No, not me personally.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, did you describe yourself as a birdometer or
A birdometer.
Yeah, because I lost signal, but the last thing I heard there a few minutes ago was I'm a birdologist or something like that.
It's called ornithology.
It's
ornithologist.
Ornithologist. That's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
Like when I heard birdologist and I lost
That
signal. It's like I'm sure that's not bird. I'm sure there's no such thing as a birdologist.
Yeah, it's
That
ornithology.
was me in my late teens, early 20s, Brian.
You'd be surprised how many people don't know what ornithology is, though, right?
I knew what it
That's
Yeah,
was.
most people wouldn't
that's
know
why
that. Yeah.
That's why we say birdology.
Well, they know what a black swan is.
I think that's more of an indictment to America.
we,
than
we know what his favorite song is.
What is it?
Bird is a word.
Free bird.
bird is. Look at him.
Hold on a second. I'm being summoned. Betty, take over for a minute and 30 seconds.
Did he offer fruit?
I don't know what he's going to do. So are you the one that straps the cameras on the birds then?
The crew, yes, part of the university in Minnesota.
Okay, and what do you measure then?
With altimeters, your basic global instruments.
So how high they go and which direction? That sort of stuff?
Yep. The speed, direction, where they
Do
stop.
Do they go to one specific place in maybe Antarctica or something? Or how far south do they go?
Supposedly to the Antarctica.
But there's no food there, so they live off fish.
I believe so. That's the
Okay.
story.
Huh. But why would these
I mean,
birds?
you can see them when they get there. They're eating shit. They're living on rocks and stuff.
So where do you sort of strap these cameras on these birds then? Do you need to go and travel over there then?
Oh no, their cameras are easy to put on birds.
Yeah, but where do you catch them? In the North Pole, North region, or the South region?
These ones that we use in tests have been used for years. They're just catch them when you catch them in the spots where they come down. They do a lot of coming down, like where Saskatchewan is in Canada, Argentina, some spots in Mexico. You can find them stopping, but they mostly fly straight through. They're just machines.
Willie, you're knocking it. Willie's knocking it out of the. Hold on a second. Willie's knocking it out of the park here. He says, "Do they eat penguins?"
Do they?
Sorry, Adam. Go ahead. Go ahead, Willie.
No.
Touche.
No, because they can't get the wrappers off.
The Americans won't get that.
Give me the mic.
Hold on a second, Adam, Brian. You're gonna have to state that after, because Betty was having a conversation. Forgive us, Betty. We're worms. Go ahead.
Yeah, you go away. You give me the mic, and then you come back and hog the whole conversation.
I didn't hog
again.
it. It was a short statement. Would you just continue?
My interjection, Betty, was
I
on
am
the
just
conversation.
wondering where these birds, they just go to Argentina and Canada. So they basically fly over land then, right?
Both land and sea. It depends on which way they're going, which way the winds are pushing that time of season. From what we gathered, there is variables. They try to stay along latitude lines. You know what I'm saying? Or, I'm sorry, longitude lines. They try to stay around longitude lines, and they fluctuate usually 25 degrees within the longitudes.
So they never end up in Africa, for example, or like Australia.
No.
Okay.
So they're not accounting for Earth rotation then.
Oh no, they don't even know about that at all.
I do have a question on their flight path, because we're often taught that birds use magnetics, follow magnetic lines. With that in mind, then, what on these migratory paths are they following, as you alluded to, kind of a longitudinal path? 25 degrees is a big variance, so we can expand on that a bit as well. Or is it following magnetic lines?
I put it up on YouTube.
I just wonder if there's any correlation to magnetism in terms of the flight paths they take.
Well, you can check it out right here. They have it. They have it on here. It should be popping up for you guys any minute now. Any second, sorry.
This dude's at the uni. I can't decipher that picture right now. Does that
They
matter?
seem to
I would
go
assume
over
that these
water.
guys study it. They'd have that knowledge. So
Can you make it bigger or QE?
I must say something though, something that was said a few minutes ago.
Well, can't you answer my question?
1 second. The altimeter is not a globe instrument. The man said there the altimeter, a globe instrument. The altimeter, it's not a globe instrument. It's just an altimeter. It just works off of air pressure.
Exactly.
So, but when I look at these flight paths, they seem to go over water, not over the land. Is that correct?
Yeah, they're on the coast, and they do actually touch the tip of North Africa sometimes.
Yeah, I see that. Okay.
Is that big enough? Is that big enough, Betty?
They're marine birds. They stay by the water to feed.
Because you said that they were also going to like where was it again? Somewhere in South America, somewhere, Argentina.
Yep, because there's one thing we've never seen these terns do. We've never seen these terns go from the supposedly North Pole to the supposedly South Pole, and then just go from the South Pole to the North Pole, but go the opposite direction, supposedly. So let's say they came down the North American coast and the South American coast towards the South Pole. So relatively speaking, on a globe, they'd have to go back up the other side across Asia and Russia. We have never calculated that flight path of these birds. Why would they just turn around?
There's no north-south circumnavigation on a ball via Arctic turns.
Exactly.
I like it.
Exactly. According to turns, they just turn around.
That's why they
a
call them
claim.
turns.
That's a
good.
claim you can work with, though, isn't it? That's a good claim. If you show that they do the same botched route that the so-called north-south sailors do, which is to go down and come back virtually, maybe sail along a bit of coastline and come up a different continent, but at no way is it full circumnavigation. And they're not bothering to do that, even though, as we said, they're following the path of the sun. So it'd make more sense to just keep. Wouldn't hover, wouldn't stay there and then come back. It'd make more sense to go all the way around, wouldn't it, and follow the path of the sun if you're on a ball.
Hey,
Exactly.
hey, I got to stop
like
it
it.
again. Willie Nanny is knocking this right straight out the park. He said, birds don't travel. The bird's already there. He needs to get on the show, man. I'm liking the cut of his jib.
Is he one of those birds ain't real guys?
No, it's a play on Shits at 40 and his photon.
Unbelievable.
So can one bird go faster than another then, if they don't travel?
Yeah, against the speed of light.
All right, are we done with the turns? That was very interesting. Thank you for bringing those up.
Yeah.
No problem.
Like I said, it is a good. I don't know about the argument though. You'd have to work on that, and I think there's a lot of pitfalls to it. But I understand what you're saying.
Awesome. I'll work on it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Out rotation. There's an argument against out rotation in there.
Oh, you've already got it, and you've got a free joke. They don't circumnavigate.
They turn around.
No, they just they have to turn around. That's brilliant.
They just turn around. Yeah.
You never know what's gonna pop up on this show, man.
Yep. You might just turn around.
And then you got Flat Arthur giving me a backhanded slight. Yeah, we're already an hour into the show and haven't got to the argument yet. Jerk.
Well, he's waiting for it.
I said it earlier. We started out with sea sparrows and we've ended up with Arctic terns, and I kind of like the Arctic tern a lot more.
I do too. I think it's a cool looking bird, and I like that migration path. I like everything about it.
Yep.
Now what are we gonna do?
You gonna get your sea sparrow off the road.
Does NATO stand for North Atlantic Treaty Organization?
You silly goose. God, say it again, Flat Arthur. They didn't get it.
I'm just asking, what does NATO stand for in there? in your
North
title?
Atlantic Turn Organization. Do you get it?
North
It is just a coincidence that I decided to change my DP to a bird today before all of you were talking about birds and everything.
That's true. I
just a
looked over
coincidence.
here. I was wondering who was causing audio feedback, and I look up, and your name is not in there. It says F ... But then I looked over, and there's some type of pelican-looking damn bird, and it's so small I can't see it. Probably a black pelican.
I don't know what that bird is, but that's my best capture with my Nikon P900, and I decided to change it today after listening to Nathan for the past few days that the what do they call it? Gleason's map is not actually accurate. So I
He just wanted to give you the
change
bird.
He just wanted to give you the bird. Got a bunch of comedians
It's
out here
kind of
today.
black, ain't it? Black. It's not a swan. It's still.
Sorry,
it's
QE.
black.
I think everything. I like to have fun. That's all. I apologize.
No, you're fine. I don't mind it. I'm a lot of things, but you can't convict me of lacking a sense of humor. I'll tell you that much.
Depends on what humor.
You just at ease over there.
Nathan's is just better than yours, but yours is good too.
Shut up, Betty.
Are you waiting for another one-liner or what?
No. We might get on to the presentation that Flat Earther was. That nice backhanded slight there, Flat Earther. I appreciate that. I like how you snuck that in there.
I waited a long time.
Nathan is my current
that next time.
favorite. You used to be my favorite, but Nathan is my current favorite, so I'm sorry.
That's all right.
How did that happen? How did that happen, Flat Earther?
Rude prick part. Do you know about that?
What?
Rude prick? Who called you a rude prick?
You did, but probably because you.
I did
sometimes
not. That is not one of my sayings. I would never say that.
I call you a rude prick. You don't even remember, QE. I do not even matter to you. That's the reason.
Yeah, he called me one, Betty.
He did?
I've even called you names before.
Well, get in line.
Now, I'm allowed to have my opinion. You're allowed to have yours. You know, we get along when we need to.
I don't even know you. All right.
You do. You may not remember. My old name used to be Rookie.
Rookie.
Wookie? No, I still don't.
Get on with the presentation, QE.
Anyway, yeah, we can talk later, whatever.
All right. Ooh, bam! Oh, I forgot to share it. Sorry about that, folks. We're going to have to take a timeout on that. Wasn't prepared. Shout out, Betty. Share your screen, QE. Now everything's kosher. All right, let me make sure everything is squared away first, folks, before we get rolling on this. Looks good. Any super? Has there been any super chats?
No, not that I know.
What on earth is going on out there?
Yeah, your wife needs to go on and say something about this because
You better not. I'll tell you what. She's gonna ask me after I get up.
Really?
You're gonna have to lie.
Yeah, really. She's out there in the living room. She's gonna say something.
Yeah, you need to work your ass off. Maybe if you do a good presentation, then maybe people will super chat.
Okay, I'll do my best.
Maybe if you call out super chats that didn't happen.
That didn't happen.
Let's see how that works out.
I don't think that's false advertising, man.
Apparent super chats.
All right, here we go. We got the Evolved Sea Sparrow missile. That's what this means. ESSM Block 1. And thanks to Betty.
Evolved.
Uh-oh.
What's that?
What's that?
Evolved.
Yeah, it has evolved in there too.
I've never noticed that before.
Yeah, it does. I don't know why. People are enamored with that word. They use it it's like quantum, right? They just put it in front of stuff. Makes it sound, I don't know. I don't know why they did that. But I think what they mean by evolved in this particular case is that they keep on improving the weapon system. So this is the Evolved Sea Sparrow Missile Block 1. I think it was known by something else before. I don't think it was the RIM 7. We're going to get into that here in a second. But now you have the ESSM Block 2, right? They keep on improving this monkey. So I think that's what they're going for. But thanks to Betty. Shout out to Betty for making this thumbnail right here to put on the website. This is outstanding, right? Because this is the Evolved Sea Sparrow Missile, and that's what it does. You see over in the right-hand corner? It torpedoes the frigging BallTARD. But very simply, and by the way, it's this contraption right here that's in our focus. This little thing right there. Because that's the fire control. It's not the fire control radar. It's the one that shoots out the pencil beam. That is really key. So the height of this is key, but this is the guy right here, and we're going to get into it right now. So general characteristics for the Evolved Sea Sparrow Missile Block 1, and this is from Navy.mil. The primary function is surface to air and, see, that's a really important word right there, and surface to surface radar guided missile. When this first came out, a lot of the BallTARDs, you know, they're numpties, they're saying, well, this is a surface to air missile. What are you using this for? No, that's just one of its functions. So it should have primary functions because it does surface to surface. And particularly, they use this against sea skimmers. That's one of its main missions. And sea skimmers go from 10 to 30 feet above the deck, above the water. So you can treat it effectively and essentially as a surface target. If everyone follows that sort of logic. So we have a bistatic semi-active seekers in the nose of the missile. They receive a reflected signal from a target that is being illuminated with an RF signal transmitted. There it is, from a fire control radar. So I was right in the first one. That's what that is, a fire control radar, this guy. All right? That's what we're focused on. From a fire control radar on a standoff platform, for example, aircraft or ship, such systems require that the platform maintain, this is key, line of sight to the target until it is engaged by the missile. Ship-based Standard Missile, SM, and NATO Sea Sparrow AAW missiles are examples of such a semi-active mode. The NATO Sea Sparrow requires a constant signal for homing. But that's not in contention for anyone. From navaltechnology.com, the range is more than 35 miles. They don't give the exact range. That's classified. But they have put out that it is at least 35 miles. So the target is illuminated with a 2-degree RF pencil beam, which has to be maintained, that is, painted, on the target until detonation. At a more than generous 50 feet elevation above sea level, we're talking about the target illumination radar height, that fire control radar, the target should be hidden behind 463 feet of curvature. So, therefore, please explain how you can have line of sight 35 miles away on a spinning ball by showing how a 2-degree RF pencil beam can penetrate 463 feet, that's 141 meters of target hidden height, through a wall of water 26 miles in length. Like I said above, the PS 35 miles is lowballing. The official max effective range is classified. It's much, much greater than 35 miles. So either, I love this. So either, right up here, the Evolved Sea Sparrow Missile Block 1 exists, or the spinning ball religion exists. Both can't be true. Does everyone follow that? Can't be true. Only one can be true. It's a disjunctive syllogism. Once you roll one out, that's it. It's all over. So let me try to break it down for you. See if you can follow this. Number one, the range of the Evolved Sea Sparrow Missile Block 1 is 50 kilometers. Like I said, actually, it's much further. It's classified. Number two, the target must be illuminated by RF pencil beam via a target illumination radar. This is a very important point with the ESSM Block 1. On the launch ship for the weapon system to engage. Ergo, it must have line of sight. You see this on the launch ship? We're going to get into this down below. For the Evolved Sea Sparrow Missile Block 2. That's what differentiates the Block 1 from the Block 2, but I digress. We'll get there. Number three, the target illumination radar and the Evolved Sea Sparrow Missile Block 1 must be on the launch ship. I just stated it again. Number four, surface targets, that's ships and sea skimmers, are engaged by the Evolved Sea Sparrow Missile Block 1 from the launch ships. Number five, the horizon at 50 feet elevation, according to the curve calculators, is 8.65 miles. Ergo, the limit of line of sight on a sphere is 8.65 miles at that elevation. It's simple. You can take it up further if you want 60, 70, 80 feet elevation. It's not going to matter. Number 6, if the Evolved Sea Sparrow missile Block 1 can engage surface targets from ships at anything greater than 8.65 miles, that's 13.9 kilometers, and it most assuredly can, then the Earth must be flat. Modus tollens, just to drive it home. If P, then Q, not Q, therefore not P. If the Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles, P, then illuminating surface targets, including sea skimmers, with an RF pencil beam would be limited to 8.65 miles. Not Q, because surface targets are illuminated, then engaged at distances greater than 4 times that limit. Therefore, not P. The Earth is not a sphere. The prosecution rests simple. They live in a fairy tale. The end. Let's get to some baller rebuttals, because I had these come out initially mainly on Wolfie's channel. Way back in the day, I used to muck with Wolfie, right? And I just let that crayon muncher go because he's an idiot. But I exposed him and his clueless clan of clowns that he had following him. I just whipped them around by their short hairs. But this is some of their rebuttals. But the missile and the target illumination radar don't have to be on the same ship. That was one of their that's one of their gotchas. But of course, that's factually incorrect. This is from Raytheon. I think that no. Listen to this closely. Unlike the RIM 7 Sea Sparrow missile and the Evolved Sea Sparrow missile Block 1, Block 2's active seeker will support terminal engagement without the launch ship's target illumination radars. You see that? Do you see the juxtaposition? The RIM 7 and the ESSM Block 1 must have the launch ship's target illumination radars. You guys follow that? The Block 2s don't. That's the juxtaposition here. Between the semi-active capabilities that the Block 1 brings and the active capabilities that the Block 2 will bring, the consortium's warfighters will have the best of both worlds when it comes to ship self-defenses. See that? That means, I just said it again. I'm just going to say it again. This, according to that citation from Raytheon, this means the RIM 7 Sea Sparrow and the ESSM Block 1 must have the target illumination radar and the missile on the same launch ship. The ESSM Block 2 doesn't need the launch ship's target illumination radar on the ship, but the Block 2 ESSM isn't going to be ready until 2020. Obviously, I made this argument back in 2017 or 2016, right? From docs.house.gov, the Evolved Sea Sparrow missile Block 2, an improved short-range ship-based missile that counterattacks by multiple cruise missiles at low altitude, as well as adversary jamming and radar deception. It will be fielded in 2020 with 80 missiles going to the fleet. So I was just trying to support that 2020 date with that. Here nor there, it's Mox Nix as of this point. Ergo, this is the question. Please tell me how the ESSM Block 1 has been engaging surface-based targets at more than 50 kilometers with target illumination radars on the launch ships for the past 15 years. Here we go again. The first production Evolved Sea Sparrow missile was delivered in late 2002 to the U.S. Navy by Raytheon Missile Systems and has been in full operational use in the U.S. since 2004. Navy.mil, baby. So, this question stands. I will say this again. Please tell me how the Evolved Sea Sparrow missile Block 1 has been engaging surface-based targets at more than 50 kilometers with the target illumination radars on the launch ships for the past 15 years. That's a good darn question, isn't it? Bet your ass it is. You see the answer right down here? I provided it to you. Kaboom! The fairy tale BallTARD spinning space monkey religion just crashed and burned with such ferocity it would make Steve Austin's $6 million man crash and burn look like a fender bender. There it is, baby. Even though it's been, I don't want to say it's been replaced, but it's been upgraded with the Block 2. that doesn't render null the fact that it was in operational use for 15 years before that, engaged in surface-based targets at ranges greater than 8.62 miles. Game, set, match. Questions, comments? Am I still on there?
You are. So, refraction.
Refraction?
Yeah, that's what kept popping in my head. It is really nice to address Ruthie, isn't it? Because what they're desperate at the moment with the Black Swan is to constantly invoke refraction. This destroys it. This is line of sight with a laser, isn't it? A marking system, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. They have 7/6R refraction. Now, it's something that I think is quite useful in the argument when we come up against
it is
kind of Ruhif.
Yeah, you're not painting a refracted target.
No, exactly my point.
You like how I whittled that down to be killer concise?
More succinct than I, you mean?
I think you did quite well. It was perfect.
I have that talent.
I fed you.
Now, as the opposite of me, the anti-me, Brian, please go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was going to say that I remember the Navy guy that Mark Sargent interviewed, talking about and showing video of himself, I think, in the ship, that he can paint the target at 50 nautical miles away, which is almost 60 attachment miles. So, and that they walk around 100 foot, 50 to 100 foot in elevation, because it's for low-flying aircraft that are trying to fly under the radar. That's one of the main uses of it. But the thing about it is that there's no way that... I remember the ballers used to try and say, well, the line of sight RF beam, is it RF beam is the correct... pencil beam is the correct way to term it, is bending around the globe, because they didn't know what 7/6 or greater than over 6R was. They didn't understand it. They still don't. But the point is that we do. So it's not any light bending going on. It's globe unbending.
Is it bending through a horizontal? I'm sorry. Is it bending through a horizontal gradient?
Well, the main point is that, as Adam pointed out, you can't paint and hit a target that is a mirage.
I pointed that out.
Oh, sorry. I missed that part. I was out of the call. I'll just shut up. It's the best thing to do.
Wait, hold on. So they're responding and saying the pencil beam is falling around the curve of the Earth. Is somebody really... Because that's like, okay, yeah. So light can't escape Earth's gravity, but space shuttles, that's fine.
That's why I said refraction.
Yeah.
So it's a really good rebuttal to that. As soon as they try and invoke that, it's always been a bit of a nice little cute thing, isn't it, the sea sparrow? But actually, that's why I said refraction. It's a very good rebuttal to Ruhif, this. Can't paint it. I can cite John D in terms of all these effects that you actually still have to see it, but they won't have it. But this is real world citation from their world. So it's quite powerful. You have to be able to see the target. In QE, I've just looked it up. I've got operational range plus 27 nautical miles, plus 50 kilometers is what it's saying. That's that's like 600 odd foot more, isn't it? Which proves the point. And more important, in terms of the Ruhif refraction argument, how do you paint something with a bendy laser that you don't know what the bendiness is going to be that day? It's going to be very good, that targeting system. I don't know how bendy my laser is today.
But his laser won't be bendy. That's the point. The point is that
that's what they'd have to claim to match the laser to their supposed refraction, that you can paint the target. The laser's got to be bendy, hasn't it?
Well, no, but that's what they were claiming, because and they probably would still claim it, not understanding over 6R. It's if over 6R is an unbending of the globe, so you have a straight line of sight, that means that the laser can't be bending. The laser has to be straight line.
It has to bend. It has to bend in their world. That's what I'm saying. So they need to know what over 6R the laser is bending today, so they can paint the target. This is the ludicrousness of what they have to invoke.
Well, no, the laser is still going to be straight because the line of sight is straight. Their globe is unbending.
Because you can see something that you shouldn't see. So the laser has to bend.
Well, if you're seeing it, then the laser has to be going in a straight line. It's like
Can we all agree that straight is curving? A straight line of sight is straight and curving.
No, if you can see, I'm being a baller here, but if you can see it because of refraction, and when you can see it, you can point a laser to it, and the only logical conclusion is that the laser is also bending, because, otherwise it would be intersected by the hill that you can see past now because of refraction. My nonsense, this is what they're invoking. To be able to paint the target with the laser has to also bend. Doesn't it?
Yeah,
but go straight over the top.
But their over 6R doesn't. Their over 6R is not a bending of the light or a bending of the eye line. It's an unbending of their globe. There's no bending light. They have this wrong completely.
Don't mention eyeline yet. Rufy's still putting on. Don't go into eyeline.
Don't go there.
Not yet. Not yet.
Because line of sight means line of sight, doesn't it? Okay, I'll shut up.
Certain people are yet to define that. Yeah.
Okay.
I can't believe Adam got away with that crap argument earlier. Damn, my tablet messed up. I'm still messed up about that.
Come on, man. Which one?
Which one? Meaning that there's many. The implication is that there's many. Go ahead, John.
Well, I'm piling. All of you, go on. Yeah.
The water level appears to be at your eye level. Like, I was trying to get that in, but my computer went to crap, or my tablet went to crap.
Yeah. What was my point? Wasn't it?
Yeah, appears, not actually.
I'm not prove that. So you're now going to invoke optics and perspective, not just citing water.
No, you did. You said apparent. I didn't say nothing. That's your claim. You said apparent, not actually. So it invalidates your response.
So you're saying the water is actually as high as my eyes in the distance?
No, that's what you said. I said the water's level.
I'm saying
and a horizontal plane below your feet. You're the one that invoked that. Don't try to switch the burden now. Quit it.
Yeah, I'll leave it there then.
Ladies and gentlemen, if refraction worked as BallTARD's state, it would render all the world's militaries impotent. They wouldn't be able to fight.
Oh, you've done it more succinctly.
Hell, we wouldn't be able to communicate.
Say again?
I said.
Go ahead, Adam.
John said you won't be able to communicate.
He can't. He's roboting. I said you did it again more succinctly, John.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. They wouldn't, and that's what I'm saying. You'd have to know how bendy your laser is that day. You're going to paint the target. There's a contradiction here. That's what I say it's very useful. They will try to invoke refraction.
Not only the path, the target is refracted. Do you get it? The target's refracted. Is my mic working?
Yeah, but then you think,
Right,
well, I've got a bending line or a
never
straight line.
actually.
On John.
It's I'm sorry. It would never hit the target if you were aiming at a refracted target.
Exactly.
What? What are you even talking about? That's stupid to even suggest it, you know?
Unless the laser bent. Then your laser's hitting. So this is the.
Well, wait a
screw,
second. Wait a second. The laser's hitting the refracted target, which is you got it. You're all over this, Adam. Now go ahead.
Okay, so you've managed to line your laser up.
Even if
Hold
the
up,
laser
Flat
hit,
Arthur.
how is the missile going to hit?
Hold up, Flat Arthur. I said Adam. It's Adam. Is that your name?
Which
Go ahead, Adam.
I might as well jump in now.
You're
What,
rude.
Neil, you finish it.
You rude prick.
That was good. You rude prick.
That's Arthur.
Go ahead, Adam, and then Arthur right behind.
Wait. Yeah, so we've lined those two things up given refraction. Do missiles refract?
No.
Well, that's not going to work, then, is it?
Nope. So you got a problem, right? Not only with the path, you got a problem. This refraction is so nonsensical, folks. In fact, in a couple weeks after this Saturday's Ballbusters, we're going to do refraction again because it seems to be coming around. I've been hearing a lot of people, refraction, they have no clue what it means. And even in their own paradigm, if we use their own principles of their refraction, it's a belly laugher. Even then, disregarding that, just think of the world's militaries. They wouldn't be able to hit squat anywhere. Like fight the fat girth. Hold up your hand in front of your face. Is that your hand? Yes. No, it's not. What?
I'm going to have to take issue with that. It's been proven in a court of law that even at short range he can hit a woman.
Oh, good one, Adam. Yeah, that was one of my first things. I used to say, how the hell is the military operating? How are they hitting targets?
Exactly. You know who's been conspicuously silent?
On to golf.
I have no idea who.
Betty! Oh, there she did. Stick saved her back.
Read super chats, Betty.
There isn't any.
Oh my god, I did one.
You did one. When? Last week?
No, just now. Let me check.
And it needs to be on there still.
You should have seen the look on my wife's face. She brought me, because I requested an orange. She come in and I said, look. And she gave a face. I'll tell you what, guys. Don't piss her off.
Yeah, because QE won't be allowed to come on anymore. Right?
I ain't saying anything for right now. She
would be a good one.
That ain't fair. I married a Southern girl too, man. You don't say stuff like that in front of them.
Hey, Betty, take charge for the next 90 seconds. I'll be right back.
What are you gonna do in 90 seconds?
Try to smooth things over.
Well, you've been good with that amount of time. How many of you can smooth things over in 19 seconds with their wives? Like to see that maneuver. Adam, are you any good with your wife in 90 seconds?
That ain't happening.
I don't like to brag. I don't like to brag.
It's either yes or no, Adam.
think I've done that quicker for her.
So 90
You can
seconds.
last 90 seconds? Wow.
Oh, you didn't ask that. Did
Can you
you?
smooth things over?
Are
in
we
90
including foreplay?
I went through quite a long period
Are we
of
including
trying
foreplay?
non-ejaculatory sex.
You gotta
which-
include the cuddling as well.
Wait a minute. Adam is talking. What did you say, Adam?
So I went through a period of trying. If you hear about like non-wet orgasm, so I tried the period of that. Yeah, you can go for ages. It gets a bit boring actually. Natural
I
ways.
wasn't even talking about that. About smooth things over in the sense
John was saying, could you last more than 90? Honestly, there comes a
No.
point.
Can you smooth things over in 90 seconds with your wife? So in any argument, right? That's what I meant.
Oh, I see. I
Admitting
see.
I'm wrong.
So, I mean, if you're having an
Exactly,
argument with
Adam.
your wife,
You're right. I'm sorry. It's over.
that's the only way you can do that, right?
Hey, John.
It's the
John, hold on a
quickest
second.
way.
Hold on a second. John, your mic, your audio, I'm serious. You're lagging 5 seconds.
Huh.
Because every time that for some reason,
He's in another time zone, maybe on Antarctica.
because you're talking, Betty, and he just comes right over top unless he's got issues with the female persuasion.
He does. If his name is John, it might be the
Hey,
same.
can we do it? Well, can we do a quick check? Like when I stop talking, tell me when you hear me stop talking.
Okay.
That's too difficult. We got a super chat.
I gotta shut up. I'm just gonna make this unlistenable. I'm sorry, guys.
That's all right.
No.
Super chat.
Go ahead, Betty.
Yeah. Flat Arthur says, yeah, I can live without one bottle, 650 milliliters of beer this week, but this is important. I still love you, Kiwi, you rude prick. See, he suffered a bottle of beer for you to just give you this.
Thanks, Flat Arthur. Appreciate that.
Yeah. You prick.
You old Italian bastard, prick barber.
Unbelievable.
All right, where are we going to go from here?
To bed?
You maybe.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's late.
Quite an offer, Betty.
Again?
I said that was quite an offer.
Well, get over here, Adam.
It was quite an offer. Gee.
Then you have to soothe things over with your wife.
That'll take me no more than a minute and a half.
Too funny. Did you hear any of that, QE?
The last minute? Yes.
No, that I asked if anybody in here could also smooth things over with their wives in 90 seconds.
No, I figured, I left that out there, and when I walked away, I said, I should have never done that.
It descended rapidly.
Yeah, because Adam took it the wrong way.
So what did you say? I missed it.
Well,
Do
I'll
it
take
again.
blame too. I did it too.
I've never taken it the wrong way.
Oh, brother.
Yeah, you started something with I'm not going to even use these words. What did you say, Adam, exactly?
I don't know now. I was. No.
Put you on the spot, huh?
It's probably not worth repeating more to the point, as I do remember it.
Mm-hmm. Good.
All right. Anything else?
I'm shy now.
Yeah, you're both really shy.
No, I tried to keep it in the up and up. I was just thinking about smooth things over in a conversation or in an argument, right? And somebody said, well, just say you're right, woman, right? That's it. Just say that we are right.
Yeah, but this isn't a question of right or wrong. This is another
Yeah,
category.
it usually is. Usually is.
It usually is, but not in this particular situation.
Situation. Too funny.
I've always heard happy wife, happy life. So you say yes, dear. That's what you say.
Yeah. Well, in the right orders, right? Not say yes just to say yes.
Because if they catch you just saying yes to say yes, it's your ass. Ass righteous.
It might be your life.
Yeah. Yep. I think this one died. We now need to move on.
We can come up with another. We don't have to come up with another topic. There was a topic brought up today, and I'd like to bring it up because it's important, especially for flat earthers out there. Not flat earthers, flat earthers. I've been getting a lot of, or not getting. I've been hearing a lot because I've been in certain Discord channels, not saying anything, and just listen to the banter, and not only in Discord, but flat earthers on YouTube, and they're stating this little gem about, and this is the key word, explanations. So I spoke about this many years ago, and we usually periodically go over this about people's explanations. Usually it's the anti-flat earthers that ask you, they try to switch the burden of proof right out the gate. Usually this is a right out the gate thing, but not exclusively. But they'll ask you to explain something. Like sun setting, seasons. Yeah, just why this boat, we can't see the bottom of the boat. You get the picture, right? I've heard some flat earthers also say, well, I can explain this and I can explain that. No. We don't care about explanations. Number one, explanations are quote unquote just so stories. That is, you could just make shit up, right? I can get explanations down on the corner, the village idiot down here with his baseless assertions, and he does have some explanations. I just have to query him. He's going to give me an explanation. An explanation without some type of validation is a just so fairy tale story. Shout out to the EvoTards. They used to play this game back in the day. Well, can you explain? And then I can explain. No. Number two, these flat earth globetards or the anti-flat earthers, they come out the gate with asking you to explain, well, what? Well, you're a flat earther. Can you explain sunsets and sunrises? Up your ass. Number one, I didn't make the claim for sunrises and sunsets, so I'm not going to explain something I haven't made claims for right off the bat. So it sounds like that you, anti-flat earther, have some type of explanation in the hopper, and you think it's time to compete with explanations. No, first we want you to explain it, sunrises and sunsets, on your globetard, and then we want validation, not just the just so story. We want the validation. Turn it around on them right off the bat. I hope everyone follows that, because this isn't an explanation competition. Does everyone relate to that? I'll tell you what, most flat earthers, nope, ain't gonna happen, right? They ask you a question, you just go right along with the cheese, right? They put the cheese out there, or that little flashy lure, you know, in the stream when the trout's swimming upstream and he catches a hot looking trout. but he sees this little flash over in the corner of his eye, and it's a spoon lure, and it's flashing, reflecting off the sun, and he goes over and chases it and gets a mouthful of trebles. You're in the same boat, flat earthers, if you go chasing that frigging nonsense. Oh, yeah, I can explain it. Don't do it. Don't make an ass out of yourself. Right? Just flip it on them.
Kind of the same rules when you get pulled over.
Second?
Kind of like when you get pulled over by the cops. You just don't say anything.
I don't want to say don't. No, you know. Not that you
That's
don't.
a bad analogy.
Yeah, it's not that you don't say anything. You flip it on them. Right? I don't see,
Well,
and
you try to you point right back to the conversation. You keep them from trying to steer because they do. That's everything they always do is just steering, steering, trying
Hold
to change
on,
it
I
into
got
about
it.
you. Yeah, exactly.
I got
Hold
it.
on, yeah,
I get pulled over for speeding. I'm gonna tell a cop, well, how fast were you going at? You caught up to me, buddy.
yeah, right. That'll be a train wreck. Thanks. And this is another important. Yeah, it's another important point is that it's not their explanations. It's already explained for them by Wiki and Discovery Channel. So they are stuck. There's no flexibility with them. Now, they do offer some flexibility. I call them the left-wing fuckwit faction that just makes shit up. You're going to have to deal with that. That's a separate topic. But their explanations for every single aspect of their BallTARD is already set in stone. No flexibility. It's got to be that or it ain't that. So you got them by the short hairs. When
it's scripted. That's what you can tell too. They script it. It's like they're reading off a chart or something.
Oh, they're reading from Wiki or Discovery Channel, and that's legitimate. It's the other ones, the left-wing fuckwit faction that just makes stuff up, that goes against Wiki and Discovery Channel. You're going to get both, right? Be careful out there. You'll get both. They'll throw you off your game. But back to the original point, explanations are worthless by themselves. Now, if you can validate in some way your explanation with experiment, that's fine. If it's a scientific topic, that's fine. Or validation some other way if it's outside the science topic, then you can do that. That's fine. But don't just give an explanation. And don't chase that cheese or that lure. Betty!
You could just say you don't know, right?
Super chat.
Go ahead, Betty.
We have a super chat from Retro Bill. He says, forget glasnost and perestroika. Easier and cheaper to achieve world peace by simply invoking refraction to render the world's military obsolete.
It's not good. Thanks, Retro Bill. Appreciate it. My wife's going to, well, at least we're almost up to $10.
It's a valid point, isn't it?
Betty, what the hell are you laughing at?
The way you are so grateful.
I am grateful. I am for those guys that have given me the super chats, but it's not going to happen.
What's not going to happen? For you tonight?
I got to tell her $7.40 she's going to kick my ass.
Well, that's a tragedy because the information that you're putting out, you need to get paid for that. So does Nathan.
It's not a need. It's not a need. They do it out of the kindness of their heart. I understand that. Now back.
I'm not talking about super chatters.
Yeah, I agree. It's a choice.
Now back to the topic. Somebody said that you could just say nothing. I would probably not do that. Now, could you say, I don't know? Yes, but that's really weak. Even though you don't know, but that's not, as a sole rebuttal, that would probably not be a good idea. Just do it the way I just taught you how to do it. It's very easy. Right? Because I don't walk up to complete strangers and ask them to explain claims they never made. Because, I like my teeth, I like my glasses, and I like my eyes not being bubbled. You follow? Because you ain't going to come up to a complete stranger, right?
Oh,
no
by
one's
the way,
going to.
Kiwi.
Second?
Kiwi, you got a super chat via PayPal by Yannick de Zager.
Oh, thanks, Andy. Appreciate that.
And I think that needs a shout out too.
Yeah, it does. Whenever you guys do that, if you do it through PayPal, you need to post. We need to have some type of. It's a good thing you were on it because I would have missed it.
Mm-hmm.
So
You
thanks a
got
lot.
Super chat now from Don't Shoot the Messenger. Don't say anything because you got zwijgrecht.
What's that?
The right to be silent.
Because you got the right to be silent.
Yeah.
And anything you say can be used against you in a court of law. Was that it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the whole joke. Didn't you get it?
Yeah. But in this particular case, you don't want to. You can say I don't know. It just doesn't. It's really weak and yellow spined, even though you don't know, and they don't know.
Right.
By the way.
Yeah, I agree. If you're debating, yeah, it does make you look silly, but that's the whole point of that. That's why I said you can dodge it by using the tactics and knowing about it. Right? You can avoid it. Good job.
Yep. It's just something that it's stuck in my craw, and I've been hearing a lot of flat earthers doing that shit too.
Yeah, but I think that there's genuine people that want to know how things work or could work, like the seasons, for example, or the moon phases or whatever. Some people do want to see it in a different way. And I think that if you have a genuine person that really wants to understand how it might work, like the seasons, for example, I think that you could sort of have an explanation.
How do they work, Betty?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Betty. Your ass is on the line then, because you better explain it and then validate it.
I'm not saying that it works that way, but it could work that way.
You could give a speculation or a possibility. I got you, Adam. I heard you jump in. We'll get back to you in a second.
Yeah, the thing is that when the first videos of Flat Earth came on YouTube, that's what things were all about, and that's what made a lot of people flat earthers without the argument. Right? If you have genuine people or people that are generally searching for some truth, and if you're always evading certain things, then it's weak too, I think.
Betty,
how is that evading if we don't know?
Shut up, Neil. Betty.
Wait, she's got a point. She's got a point here.
Shut
super chat,
up.
Betty.
Face Reality says, for all your hard work and knowledge, thank you.
Hey, that was really
I think he's referring to me. Thank you. Face
Yeah,
Reality.
I don't think so. Face Reality. I haven't seen him in a long time. Where's he been?
In the Coons age.
Say again?
In the Coons age.
I haven't seen you in a Coons age, Face Reality, or any of your videos. What's up with that? Where you been? Thanks for the super chat, by the way. Now, that's going to put a wry smile on my wife's face.
Right. This is what I thought. Hey, I thought, right, there's no way 90 seconds is going to be enough for QE to smooth it over. But $90 is probably the way.
Yeah. Money talks.
And I don't think we're that far off after Face Reality's thing. So, thank you.
Okay, so
by the way, Face Reality has some great videos, man. I wish he would come out with more.
No, he does. I watched a few of them. They're really good. I like them. Yeah, he always references me in there too. I like that shit. It does wonders for my ego.
But that's what makes him good. It's your voice, and he's doing his little thing behind. It's great.
Keep rumpusing Betty there, Neil. Cookie Monster had something to say too. He was rumpusing in there. Cookie Monster, go ahead. What do you have to say?
Oh, I was just saying I wanted to hear what else Betty had to say. I think she has a point.
Go on, Betty.
Go on, Betty. I think that I already made my point, but I was like over-talked a lot.
The reason I
Oh,
interjected.
I'm sorry. I thought you were going to keep going with it, and you got cut off. Sorry about that.
Well, there wasn't really a point. There wasn't really a point that she had. She just wanted to throw.
Oh, now I don't have any point.
See, she just wanted to throw that little nugget out there when we all came out here at Kumbaya Flat Earth, everyone was,
I
what she's
defend her
trying to
for
say,
nothing?
everyone was speculating, and that's how we got where we are. No, it's not.
Yes, it was.
No, it's
No,
not.
that's not true.
It's not how we got
If
where
the
we
first
are.
people weren't here, then we wouldn't have talked about this at all.
It's not how we got where we are. Now, it was a nice
It
little
is.
little
Everything
sideshow.
has its place, John, and I think that most people don't come to flat Earth by these like intricate arguments, but most people just look and see.
Yeah, but they
Like I
end
did.
there.
Yes, they end there and go move on and go to other topics and find God, for example. And we are still stuck on flat Earth, right?
I think questions like seasons are just as open as they were when we first realised. I want to agree with you, Betty.
Don't
we
do it,
can't-
Adam. You're a young man.
I know. I'm prepared. After the offer I've had this evening, I'm not risking it.
Oh God.
Um,
Why are you always poisoning the well, huh?
Not my words. My word. Don't get upset at your words. I want to agree with you. Because first of all, I don't think you can say I don't know. Or you can. And I think, to be honest, that's probably what I would say. I don't know. However, is what I'd follow that up with. And what you follow the however up with is just an analysis of the heliocentric model. Okay? And then match that to reality. And if you're talking about seasons, so describe what's going off the seasons in the heliocentric model, and then describe what you see and what you feel. Look, the sun's higher in the, yeah. They're the things you know. Reaffirm the things you do know because they contradict the heliocentric model. Be humble. I don't know. These are the things I observe that contradict heliocentrism. And look at seasons. It's a shit shambles for them. Yeah, and you can go on for the rest of the evening in the pub on that. You know what I mean? On seasons in their model. You don't need to do anything else because that's ultimately, you're not trying to paint a new reality. You're trying to make them realise what they've been fed is a load of nonsense, unsubstantiated nonsense.
Yeah, but I think that some people want to basically see a different way, and sometimes visual aids help people to see things another way. And once that happened with me, for example, when I was shown how sort of circumnavigation would work on a flat plane or the seasons or whatever, things fell into place for me, and all the other arguments were later formed and refined, and I like them and I love them, and I think they have their place too, you know, and I think they're very, very important. But the initial thing that really convinced me was to see it in a different way, to just see, okay, now I have two ways that I can see my reality, and which one is then the truth, and then I could build on that with the arguments. That's
So
how
you're supporting the use of models.
Well, maybe
I'm not
some
decrying that,
modeling,
Betty.
some modeling maybe on how it could work.
No, it's
Right?
exactly
Yeah,
what you're
I knew
supporting.
that these people couldn't sort of proclaim it to be true, right? But just seeing that it could work maybe in a different way helped me.
What
So
she's trying
you're
to say,
supporting the use of models.
hold on a second, Adam. What she's trying to say is the power of suggestion in this paradigm was a strong attractant.
Via the use of models.
But not only models, it doesn't.
Suggestive method.
Hold on a second, Betty. Let me argue for you. Not by the use of just exclusively models, but ideas.
Yeah, like for example, if you didn't have any idea on how to travel and you came up with the bike with two wheels and thinking, okay, I can maybe make something out of this. If somebody not sort of had thought that, you wouldn't think it possible. How can you
I'd sooner
be
stick with
upright on
the.
a soft bicycle, right?
I don't want to go to bikes, but I'll stick with the
It was just
two things.
Hold on a second, Adam. Hold on a second, Adam. Let her finish.
Yeah, you're interrupting me the whole freaking time.
Yeah, because you straw manning with bikes when we're talking about.
No, I'm not strawmanning. I'm just making an example on how
That-
things could work a different way. So if
Yeah,
you always had a horse with 4 paws, right?
Pause.
Legs, whatever, legs, right? Then you couldn't think of 2 wheels staying upright. So if you have no other ways of seeing a globe as a globe and thinking that would work in a certain way, and you haven't had that other idea to put forth, then it helps you to have a visual aid. And yes, sure, you can call that modeling, but it is not the whole model, right? And it might
No,
not even be
it's modelling.
representative of the whole model, but just another idea. It gives some people another idea in their minds.
Okay, so can I make a distinguishment in that with the two things? You stated seasons, and then you talked about circumnavigation. I would think there's a big distinguishment in any claims you're making if you use a model to exemplify circumnavigation, whether that be on a ball or on a flat plane, and you can use models for that. The point of caution I was alluding to is when you go to things like explaining seasons. Now, you may want to use a model, an assumption of the path of the sun. We know what the heliocentric model is. It's very tempting to claim and use a model, I think, in these circumstances to give people a comprehension of it. And
what's wrong with that?
I would just be very cautious in those circumstances to explain that I've got no idea. I do not know. But if you would want me to put it in a way that's comprehensible as a juxtaposition to the heliocentric model, this is how I visualize it. Make it clear that it's not a claim.
Yes.
And why you're using the model, as
anything
you
else.
say, to create a mental picture for the individual.
Yeah. What's wrong
Because
with
I
that?
wasn't decrying using models. I was asking whether you were supporting it. And because I've got no problem with models, they're there to fill lacks of knowledge to help you get better understanding.
Yeah. So we have models of hearts, right? Like with when you go to a cardiologist and you see a model of a heart, and then
No.
he explains things how it works.
No,
Right? So you
that's
can
the
do the same
difference.
thing with a larger sort of topic.
No,
Just
and that's the
yes, of course you
differentiation.
can.
No, that's
Yes.
the differentiation. I know what a heart is. I know exactly what a heart is. I can have one in front of me. What I can't have is a sun and a moon and the luminaries explaining seasons model. I don't have one of those to create an accurate representation of that. I can use it to give you an idea that there might be an alternative opinion to heliocentrism.
Yeah, and that's what I
But
said.
please
We
don't
can just
think
make it
that's
visual,
my model.
seeing people to how to sort of envision it, how it could work. Didn't I say that a couple of times ago? Could work. Not that it does work that way, but could work. And if you can see it, that it can maybe work in a different way, then you can maybe see a different understanding of the whole world that you live on, right? That's what I've said. I don't make the claim that it works the way they say that it works when you explain the seasons in a different way. But when you give them an alternative, how it could work means that people have to basically rethink and have a sort of a chasm in their understanding, and then they have to choose.
Yeah,
To
but I'm
either
with Adam.
believe the
I'm with
narrative,
Adam with the heart. Sorry.
which is just the same thing. I don't understand why you guys are so against the first arguments that were out there, because that made a
I'll
lot
tell
of
you why,
people
Betty. Hold
quite
on.
happy.
Let me say why, my own personal. Because when I was brought to Flat Earth, my brother fed me the feast of nonsense with ice walls and how seasons work, and that kept me freaking fighting for 2 to 3 weeks.
So?
All right?
What's your point?
The point is that didn't help me come. It was me looking it up myself and
It's
seeing the
always you
bogus
doing it yourself, Neil. Neil,
no,
it's
it's always the bogus answers I got from. All right, forget it.
Neil, it's always about you and you investigating yourself, because afterwards, when that initial thing happened, and when I could see it a different way, that's when I said, okay, now I've got a sort of an inside thing to explore. Because now, if it can work a different way, now I need to know more. And then I got into all this, and now I'm ending up here with you guys, right? So somewhere it is the easiest things that makes people change their minds. It is not always the most intricate things.
So it's the element of possibility. If we
The
could,
thing is, it's usually psychological. We all know that, right?
So it's the power of suggestion and possibility that brought you into, hey, well, if that could possibly happen, let me look further into this, is what you're saying.
Yes, exactly.
Everyone understand what she's saying?
I agree with her.
Yeah, thanks.
Right, and I don't think I was. I'm asking how you present that information. As long as you're presenting it clearly, yeah, not this is the ice wall, this is the sun, this is what it does over the flat Earth, this is why the seasons work. This is the point I'm making. If you're suggesting to people to open your mind, as I said, look at reality. You don't have to look at models. Look at reality. Look at what the sun does. Okay, accept that is not. Yeah, and look at your seasons. Look at what the heliocentric claims the sun is. All of this thing and how that works. Yeah, deal with that. Yeah, but be honest. I've got no problem with saying to people on certain things I do not know. Yeah, because to say anything other, to me, allows them to build straw mans to defend their position. Yeah, and being honest is a much more difficult position. I used to think Nathan used to defend it. He'd defend Mark Sargent. If you describe it like that, as if it's real, like I say, if you're going to go into it and say, as you've said, and mitigated, a perfectly acceptable way to describe to someone, but that's not what happens. The reality is the encampments are, there are an ice wall. The sun is this, it's doing this, it's transiting between this over the flat plate, and this is why it all works. And this is where we're not being genuine with people we talk to and explain what we've learned. To make that claim is not what we've learned. And that's why we shouldn't present it. Being the people that have been through that shit, yeah? That's not to say that people like Neil might do it in 2 weeks, which is a lot quicker than I fed through that nonsense. But we shouldn't present it. And we should make the distinction, is what I'm saying.
And that's my point. I was fed nonsense, and it wasn't until I looked at it myself and saw the bogus answers that I was getting. I was like, this can't be true. Climb up a tree and look. Come on.
I think you might be missing the point. I think you might be missing the point that Betty's on. I hear what you're saying, Betty. What would be your it's a place and a time. You know, the date and time group too is important also, correct?
Yeah, because you have so many different sort of people. You have people that are really interested and thinking, okay, they are really open, right? Not these people that we meet in the trenches basically, and we encounter like Ruhif and Jem Panda and those guys, you know. But just like, for example, at work, you meet someone and you have a sort of a conversation, and usually I throw up these like, sort of little things like when they talk about space and SpaceX, for example, and say, okay, well, how can you have that thing fly there when there's a vacuum of space, and how do we still live here, right? That sort of argument, right? And you see them thinking, and yeah, you see them thinking and thinking, but some people respond by laughing and walking away, and some people will immediately combat and defend the globe, right? Never want to hear your arguments. No, they will immediately strive for their their better arguments, right? But you have these people that really think, okay, I wanna know how that works. They're really open, and if you can sort of make it visual for them and how they can see things different. Because I had in the chats, for example, underneath videos about Polaris, and they said, yeah, it can't be on the flat Earth, but because Polaris is at different altitudes. And I'm thinking, no, that's perspective, man, right? So if I can tell them that that's a perspective thing, and sort of draw that out, and people understand that, then you have them a little closer to the truth. And it's not everybody that you can put these things in front of, because I mean, the first couple of videos that were presented to me, I'm thinking, why would I look at this? Because it's bullshit. We live on a globe, right? And eventually, all of us are like very inquisitive and want to know more about things. So we searched. We sort of did our research, and we finally got to this point. But it starts with that first spark, with that first thing, like, okay, something doesn't fit here. Like with you, Huey, for you it was the vacuum of space, right?
Yes.
And it took you, because you are more science minded, and you thought, how could I miss that? For me, it was perspective, and I'm thinking, how could I miss this, right?
Yes.
It's for everybody. There's another like angle to get into this topic, and we shouldn't be dismissing like vital modeling, maybe just to get some people started, right? And maybe they get further along with it. Just claim that you don't know for sure, because you don't know for sure, but that it could work maybe like this. So if you have another perspective, and also the ball is like a ridiculous thing, right? If you have modeled that, then you can have two ridiculous models next to one another and thinking, okay, which one do I go with, right?
If you
And then you do
separate your opinions,
You got, hold on. But you make some good points, Betty. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, and I think everyone does. I think they have a more clear picture now of what you're trying to say. What do you suggest? What do you suggest? Because we're in a different, even though it's a different time and we're further along in the arguments, there's still, you're appealing to the people that are just brand new, right? Coming into this now.
Yeah. And the thing is that the new people with that stern like exterior of what we now are with the arguments sometimes have maybe difficulties to get in here, or to just dare to ask questions like these simple ones, because we are not speculating and we are not doing this. But sometimes these people need a little bit of help.
I think she's saying that she desires to reach everybody, right? And so she wants to be able to put out anything that, like something to replace this thing that they throw out there that's not true, right? And I think that I understand exactly what she's saying. I agree with her. But it's
So
you
the
have to
thing-
separate the two so that you can do that in a debate without letting them take over the conversation. I think that's what QE's saying.
Sure.
Okay,
Right.
you just said put out there to it.
Wait a minute, just to respond to that. If you're in a debate, that model thing doesn't work, because
Right.
debate is used argument against argument and really state your claim and stick to it.
Correct.
But in a conversation, like meeting some, I mean, you're not going to a stranger and state all these claims, and that's what you do, right? These people usually are not into syllogisms and logic and yeah, and
That is
that
funny.
stuff, Yeah. Well, the second law of thermodynamics, what the fuck? It doesn't compute with these people.
Don't you know what a
when you ask them about it, they don't know what they're talking about.
Don't you know what a triangle is, you crayon muncher?
Triangle? It's my triangle. I'm driving my triangle.
Yeah, I see your point, Betty. I think everyone sees it, but I think Adam wants to ask a poignant question. Go ahead, Adam.
Oh, yeah.
I would point to Cookie Monster, and it's an interesting point because it's not something I've not considered myself. How do I move forwards, having been through the Feast of Nonsense? As you said, how do you address Cookie Monster? You said the lies that you're being told, that you're trying to make people see, or the untruths. Well, should you use more untruths to help them see that? I don't know what that does to my credibility. Now, if we're having a chat in the pub scenario, this week, and he leaves and he's enthused because he can visualize, this new ice rink where the seasons work, because that's how you described it in this model, that you didn't destroy first off because you're just being a bit friendly in the pub. And he comes the following week and you go, yeah, I was talking shit, mate. Don't believe a word of that. Where do you go in terms of your credibility with this person moving forwards? And this is what I'm saying. It's fine if you're a newbie wandering into this like we were a long time ago and you're exploring these things. But when we speak, we shouldn't. We should always differentiate. If that loses a person, so be it. Because I ain't making shit up for no one.
Yeah, I agree.
Sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead, Brian. We haven't heard from you in a while. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to support Betty a bit. Just on the seasons there, back some years ago, I did a presentation on Kepler's analemma, and that's where the globe get their seasons. I just intuitively understood what Kepler did. Was he back-engineered the original sun cycle, right? So as opposed to the sun having its own cycle above in the sky, right, above us, he turned that into the globe having a cycle around the sun. Now, I had to use diagrams when I did the presentation on this, which is basically showing a model. Now, at the time, I was years and years ago. At the time, I wasn't shouting against models or that. I was just showing. I had to show diagrams. That's basically were a model of what was happening, and there was nothing that the other side could come back at me with, because I just showed what the original sun cycle was that Kepler back engineered into what they call his analemma. And I had a lot of people, even though I wasn't really much of a content maker at the time, a lot of people liked it because they said, yeah, I understand now. A lot of people commented that they understood what I was pointing out because I had a few diagrams and stuff like that. So even though there was a lot of ballers who wanted to ask stupid questions like what height is the sun, all this other rubbish, it didn't matter because I did get through to the people that mattered. So sometimes it is if you can't. So a lot of people are visual learners, and they won't learn unless you show them some kind of a model type thing. They just won't learn. You can talk to them all day, but they won't get it. But as soon as you show them a photograph, a diagram or something, immediately they get it. So there's relevance in it.
Thank you.
And everybody has a different way of getting reached, right? We're all on a different path. We all understand we've had different experiences. So, like if we had experience with the ocean and all that, a lot of times you're going to be able to, describe things and explain. But I think the separation is when you have people that don't really want to know, they're just there to wreck the conversation, and dealing with that is really I think the big line that gets drawn, right? It's like it's easy to just share your witness to them and tell them what convinced you. But when they really don't want to know what you have to say and they're not interested in the truth, they just want to tell you you're wrong or find some kind of argument with your argument. You know what I'm saying? Like QA was saying, that's the problem that I have, and that's where I get frustrated, and that's why I don't like debating, because it gets frustrating, and it's almost like you have to dislike the person, and it's an icky feeling, and then afterwards you have all this back and forth about, what you said wrong, or who was right about it, and who said it right, and who spelled it right, or if they used the wrong word or something. It's like always something little, and it's petty. But, you know what I mean? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go off the conversation.
Well, I think you make good points there, and I find that same thing. And you know what? I also experience is that when you try to bring certain arguments with a certain confidence, then you're arrogant, right? You're arrogant. You know everything, and they laugh at you at being too arrogant, and they will not listen because they find you repulsive, basically. And
Yeah, but
sometimes,
what I do is I lay it in front of them and I let them find it. And eventually, if they're smart, they'll grab a hold and they'll research something and they'll try to prove me wrong. And that's how it got me, and how I found all the evidence was like I had to test it out and see. Well, wait a minute, is this true?
yes,
You know what I mean? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you.
it's always a personal journey, if you're willing to embark on a different path than the mainstream path, you know. So everybody that is in flat Earth is been there or comes to that through their own search for the truth, and everybody gets that from a different angle, right? Like you said, some people that are like on boats and that sort of stuff and know a lot about that. Some people with flight, other people with surveying or whatever, you know. And everybody has a different angle. But sometimes it's good to just indeed, like Adam says, well, sort of say, okay, I don't know, right? And let them figure it out, because then maybe they get their research on their own. And there's not one
Exactly.
way.
That's a good point. You lead them in and then let them sniff out in the information. So that way you're doing it together and then they feel like they're part of it. And then they realize these people aren't trying to lie to me. They're just trying to show me what's true, right? That's the
Exactly.
better way to do it. It's
People
difficult to
don't
do,
like
but that's exactly what to do. Exactly.
people don't like to be scammed, right? But so if they found out that they are being scammed, they will sort of defend the scammer. it's that
Yeah,
way.
so be
They will
careful what you
defend
say
the scammer.
and be careful what you explain and separate your opinions from your knowledge. You know what I mean? Good point.
Yeah.
Betty.
Yeah. What?
Super chat.
Super chat, maybe?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
It's a good one.
Lawson Clips says, for since the creation of the world, his visibility attributes are clearly seen and being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. Romans 1:19-20.
That's a powerful.
Amen.
That's a powerful biblical verse right there. Thank you, awesome Lawson Clips. Appreciate that.
Yeah. That's a new chatter, a new super chatter. Nice.
Yeah, but I think it's an old follower.
Is it?
I think so. I'm getting the feeling that it is. I could be wrong, but I'm thinking so.
Okay. Well, thanks for the super chat.
So to apply everything you're saying, I agree with everything you said, Betty. There's nothing to argue against, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's because a lot of people have different ways of being enticed and different ways of having their mind opened up, and I agree with that. What's your conclusion? I mean, I treat each person differently that I run into. Usually it's in these forums, you know, the low lifes that just crawled under a rock. It takes me about 10 seconds to figure out, you know, where is this person coming from? Is this...
We got another super chat, by the way.
Is this... We'll get to it. Is this a pretender clown, right? Is this somebody that's genuinely intrigued and genuinely asking questions? So I can evaluate that. I have that. I think we all have that certain type of skill where it's a gut no.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Or the catches, right? To get you to admit to something that you later on had to basically retract.
Yeah, well, I'm going to treat those differently. I mean, I'm going to have a lot more patience for somebody that I think is genuine, that's new. I mean, I'm not going to come firing out with, you know, the second law of thermodynamics and how entropy works. I'm just not going to do that, right? Go ahead, Adam.
I didn't think you ever would. The question I'd have after this conversation is went to the pub and you just bumped into this bloke. Would you use the description of an ice wall and a pond?
No.
To elucidate. Right, and that's my point. Yeah, that's my only point. I'm not disagreeing.
Yes.
We can't do that now. Because we're liars if we do.
Yes.
True. But that's
well, we don't know if we're liars. Sorry,
that's
Betty. We don't know that.
We are because we don't know it to be true. And that's, you know.
Yeah, we have to be careful about saying that we know it, right?
Yeah.
I think that's important because it makes us look bad. It does. It really.
Yeah, you're exact. You're all over this. Friggin' new guy. Cookie Monster.
I'm not a new guy, but I'll accept that.
Cookie Monster, you now have Flatzoid's logo as your icon.
No, he doesn't.
And I have his permission too. Can you believe it?
No, he doesn't.
You've not got mine. They're my digital rights. That logo.
That's my digital
Hey,
rights.
be careful, Marty Pants.
All right, Betty. Betty wanted to add something there. Go ahead, Betty.
I spell it fair and square, darn it.
Oh, God damn it. Okay.
Go
I
ahead,
wanted
Betty.
to shout out the super chat, if that is okay.
Yeah, that's okay. Go ahead.
So Retro Bill says, "Sea Sparrow is a great flat Earth proof, but let's not forget that Betty also needs this line of sight to spot her hazelnut." I do have one in the fridge though, and it has my name on it, and I'm gonna get at it tonight.
Listen, Retro Bill is like an elephant. He doesn't forget anything, and he connects. He's like it's like him and Tony Wickham. You got to be real careful when you start reading their super chats. But it was right on point. That hazelnut foam cake. Jeez. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Retro Bill. Boy, the wife is going to be liking this.
Super happy.
Yeah.
Super chatty happy.
Yeah, it's going to get her by.
I mean, the show's going to pay for itself. Yeah, all right.
But Betty, you wanted
might want to have more than 90 seconds.
Shut up, Betty.
Sorry.
You did want to add.
I was always told it was 30 seconds.
You shut up. I'll tell you what. I'll mute you. Nah, I'm just kidding. Betty, you had some more thoughts on this topic before the super chat? You wanted to add something or no?
Well, like I think you summarized it well. I mean, you have to basically sort of have a sense on how you're going to approach people. And I know for a fact that you in your own family won't go as aggressive as you are sometimes here in the chats.
No.
Exactly. And also with your archery, you could easily go there and do this, and you would have all the right arguments, but you still won't throw that bomb into the archery club. Right?
No.
Just because you know that you want to have a normal friendship going on, and you don't want to put people on the spot. People don't like being humiliated, and they are usually humiliated when they found out that they're being lied to the whole freaking lives.
Yeah.
And that's why people need to do the research on their own, because otherwise they won't come to the truth. They have to basically come to the breaking point where they are really happy to admit that they were wrong. We all went through that process, and for everybody that's different.
I agree.
Now,
some people will never get there because they know that if they get there, then something else will come up, and something else will come up, and then it will cascade, and then they won't have any foothold in this world.
Well,
and some people don't want to go there.
And Adam, you're both. No, wait a second, Adam. Your point stands too, Adam. I mean, you have. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not in opposition to what she's saying.
No, I'm not, and that's why I want to interject. Feast of nonsense. What Betty's describing there is that people do need to do it themselves. Yeah, you do have to go through it. We've had this on Flat Earth Debate. Neil said, no. And I've said to Nathan, no, you kind of got to. It's part of your rite of passage. I alluded to earlier how quickly Neil went through it. And the reason he probably did is because people like us stopped, made distinctions at things like ice walls. No problem, Betty, with what you're describing, which is an individual path.
Mm-hmm.
We've just got to make sure that we don't put anything on that buffet, other than facts, because we're better than that. And this is the criticism of what's going off in our community right now. The ether, with rising earths, this nonsense, these bullshit paradigms that are less substantiated than a ball earth.
I agree.
Are now being laid on the buffet, and they shouldn't be at the table. And we should never be preparing anything for that buffet.
He makes a good point there.
Very careful.
He makes a good. Sorry to rumpus you, but he makes a good point, Betty. There's a distinction there, right? So what do you? Yeah, she even reckons she knows it. I mean, Betty's pretty quick on the uptake. I think we're all in agreement here. So each person should be treated differently, right?
Yeah, and I think This channel, especially, and also Nathan's channel. I mean, if you get those and clear of what Adam just said, that the speculations on an ice wall, the ether, and all kinds of other stuff, just keep it clean, and that's good.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's also a little bit, for me, too like abrasive to other people, and sometimes it would be nice to just also see that there's multiple ways to get to the truth. And for some people, it's easy, the easy things,
Yeah.
you know.
But
like a
it's not,
picture.
Betty, but it's only abrasive when you get the pretender clowns that come in. There's been a number of times where people have genuinely come in and asked questions, and it wasn't abrasive at all. And it's just been recently. I'm not talking about on here. I'm talking about on Nathan's channel. It just happened the other day.
Yeah.
It's everywhere, trust me.
So,
yeah,
just,
but the reputation has already been made, you know.
yes, but everyone, you got to take every situation, and it depends on the person. If the person's genuine or disingenuous, I think that really comes down to it, right? If I even sniff of somebody being disingenuous, it's over for them. And I haven't seen where I've been wrong in that sense. Like I haven't said, "Oh my God, no, this person's not disingenuous. I should have been lighter on it." That has never happened.
Yeah. Well,
You can
I
always
noticed
smell a rat.
there's the one thing that you put on your channel that when I recorded that, it was on Hank Hill's channel. Remember that?
Oh, long time ago.
A really long time ago, and it's on your channel too because
I miss him.
Wait a second, Betty. Before you get to that, you don't have to miss him. He's over in the political server. I just talked to him the other day. So Hank's still out here. He goes under different names. Betty, please continue.
Yeah, I know. He changed it a couple times. You'll have to hook up, maybe accept my friend request, and then we can talk about it off.
All right.
Are you
Go ahead, Betty.
struggling for propane and propane accessories?
Yeah, propane and propane accessories. Yep. Go ahead, Betty. Finish your thought.
Maybe through my bunghole.
Go ahead,
Hank
Betty.
Hill back in the day, and he had also a sort of sometimes open hangout, and you came on there, and I think you were just coming there for a relaxing time or whatever.
Yeah.
And there was that guy that all the time he said, "Yeah, right, yeah, right," and he went over all the things, and you were back in the day, in those days, weren't that quick on the, how do you say that?
Quick on the pummeling.
Assessment names. Assessment names.
No.
And you got that guy totally like mind boggled at the end. So we need to how do you say that? Get that video again.
And replay it.
Yeah, it's so good. I like that so much. How you stayed cordial, you know, and and the guy was totally at the end like, huh?
Yeah. It was a good one. Yeah. I know you like that one.
I kind of like those days, you know, where sometimes we could just talk to one another and yeah. I mean, I just sometimes miss those
Things
investigations.
change, but just things change. I mean.
Yeah, I know.
Whoa, we still talk to each other. I'm talking to you right now, Betty.
Yeah, no, that's not what I mean, Neil. It's more like
I
the
know what you're
intermingling with
saying.
the other believers, sort of, was more cordial, and now it's two camps almost. You know, well, it is two camps.
Well, can I say something on the whole
Yeah,
matter?
Brian, go ahead, Brian.
Thank you. Unfortunately, the people that were looking to inform, let's just say, I won't use the word teach, although that is kind of what you end up doing. The people who were looking to inform, unfortunately, they are also the people that become our biggest enemies, as has been shown. Maybe in time, it's although it's a bit of a prediction, but it won't be a popular one. Maybe in a few years' time, we'll have a lot more empathy for groups like the Freemasons, as maybe are better off using the knowledge against the populace as opposed to for them, simply because they're the ones that want to destroy you and go against you when you're trying to, let's use the term, enlighten them. You know, they are. It's the flat earthers are the biggest problem. They are the biggest problem. They keep holding the whole thing back. You know,
I
it's
think
a bit
what he's trying to say
negative.
is we can create trolls, right? You know, if you do it wrong and you upset people, sometimes they'll become your enemy and they don't care whether they can find the truth. They just want to make you wrong. So you look bad, right? Is that what you mean? Like, you got to separate the two.
Well, I'm talking about flat earthers in general, just going off on crazy tangents and half learning things, and you know,
Right.
just
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
do
I've done
stupid
it, so
stuff.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, they are causing more problems than the opposition. They are the opposition. So as a flat earther, you end up in the minority when you're just looking for absolute truth and honesty, because you
And the
have
trolls will
the
use that
majority
against
of
you
flat
and keep
earthers.
using it.
Well, you have the majority of flat earthers out there who are like ticking time bombs. You don't know when they're going to go off and what's going to come out of their mouth and who's going to hear them, and then you're labeled the same as them. You know, they're dangerous. They're literally dangerous because you end up being viewed like them and their crazy ideas.
Yeah, that's true, but that's always been the case. It's still a thing that if you call yourself a flat earther, that people think, okay. Although I have to say, we have a politician here, and he sort of questions the moon landing and 9/11, by the way, but the moon landing, and he was saying that's like in one of the channels, and you could see him, and then in the chambers, like where the politicians debate, it suddenly came up by someone else that just tried to attack his arguments on that, although it didn't even matter for the politics themselves, you know, but just to get him to admit that he said that and make him look ridiculous, right? But then when I look underneath the videos of that politician, then you see a whole lot of people, really a whole lot of people that was exponential, like amount of people that say, yeah, I'm doubting that too. I'm doubting the moon landings. That's also an inside thing, you know. When you sort of go to the moon landings, and you see that can't be true, right? And with the photographs and the technology and that sort of stuff, and people see right through that too. But I'm thinking there's many more people that are already sort of in the idea that they know that they've been lied to, you know. So I think that there's more flat earthers out there than people will admit to.
I think so
And
too.
because it's still like very much like laughed at and ridiculed, that people sort of think, okay, I just want to lead my life, and it's not that big of a deal. And most people don't know these arguments that you guys have, right? And don't know how to use them, so they just give up. I remember back in the day when I first got a lot of these arguments from John here from QE, and I couldn't really master them that well, and I had to basically let go of the whole debate. But I was like evangelizing every which way, trying to get everybody to see this, because I was really like excited about it, and I experienced basically firsthand how the different people are. The people that are aggressive, the people that laugh at you and ridicule you, and the people that are really interested and just want to know certain things. So I think that we all experience that in our lives as a flat earther, and that you finally sometimes you think, I just want to live my life like John with the archery. You don't bring it up because you just want to have fun doing that thing. And that I think that more people have that, but there's more flat earthers out there than we expect.
I agree with that, Betty, that there is lots of flat earthers out there. But the problem is that these people are mostly your everyday people, because that's what's mostly in the world. Now, I don't mean to belittle them that way, but they're not unique from each other, let's just say.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is that these people are the people who will go along with something like electric gravity or upward moving earth or whatever, or whatever other crazy idea. And it's so difficult to get to inform these people, to get them to see, no, we just don't know what all this is. We can only tell you this much for certain, and that's all we know. Everything else that the heliocentric model, heliocentrism gave you, and the globe gave you, the majority of that, well, obviously all of it, is just made up, right? They don't know all these things. And when you reverse it back to reality, you find out that what we actually do know is very little. So I can't tell you what the sun is. I can't do that. And people aren't happy with that. People want someone to tell them what the sun is. And I can't tell you that because I'm lying to you if I say it. Because I can't validate it.
Yeah. People like to know everything, and they think they have everything figured out. And when they find out that it's a mystery again, they can't handle that.
Well, yeah, I mean, what do we have? We know a bit about physics, and we have a few measurements, right? That's it. That's all we know. If you want to boil it down, that's it. Well, that's all we have.
Correct.
A few techniques for measurement, and come on, Adam.
That's sufficient.
Yeah, it is,
to undo
isn't
the
it?
greatest lie in humanity. Yeah, that's sufficient.
Yep.
And you said, Brian, I echo your sentiments, Brian. Yeah, I'm not going to lie to people, and if that makes me humble, or initially they think I'm a bit of a divot because I don't know anything, so be it. Because look at what's happening. Look at what's threatening our community. People coming in and lying. Look at where we're seeing our arse right now. It's not ballers. It's at other people just trying to paint an explanation, as QE referred to it earlier. Yeah? I'm not standing for that anymore. That's what I stand against. Yeah? And we've got to be the bastions of that. Yeah? Because we have been through the feast of nonsense. We have done all this. We're good spotters of it. And so our standards need to be higher. Everyone
Adam,
needs
you
to
ain't
go
kidding.
for it.
Sorry.
No, go on, Neil.
You ain't kidding, because I was telling this kid about flat Earth, and he immediately sent me a video of Witsit. And I had to go say, no, don't go down that path right now. Well, why not? Well, he's speaking truth. So it's like they're getting hold of all of this nonsense before they get to what we talk about on these shows. Sad.
Yeah, well, I even got, this is way back now, this is going back about 2 years ago. My friend in Bulgaria, she's Bulgarian now, remember? And she sent me a video that was being, I don't know if it was translated into Bulgarian or from Bulgarian to English, about, and it was all based around dielectric acceleration. She said, this is what the real gravity is. And I had to tell her no. You know, I had to go through, there's no gravity. You had to go, you know, set her straight on a few things. But there you go. Like, she just accepted it.
That says it all, Brian.
Yeah.
The real gravity. Here is my replacement. Yeah, for something that doesn't exist in the first place.
Yeah. Well, that's what I find. Always find the strength on QE that he says, well, no, I don't need a replacement to just falsify your claim, right? Isn't that what you always said, QE?
Yeah, it was more about the courtroom with the judge. Wait a second, sir. You can't provide a case for your innocence until you can replace the thief at the crime.
Yeah.
That was my routine back in the day, which was.
That's a good way of putting it. I like that.
You like that, right? Yeah, because it's really stupid.
Yeah, it's good.
It was
all four of us agreeing.
I like that because it twists the knife a little bit. Yeah.
But wait a second, Judge. I'm innocent. No, bailiff, shut him up. Unless he has a suitable replacement for the crime.
Doesn't work that way. Yeah. But you also said in conversations, yeah, I made a claim. I just destroyed your claim. I don't need a replacement. But because then they usually said, well, what could it be then? You know, just trying to reverse it on you,
Yes.
and most people sort of go for that trap, you know. And
My son tells me if I can't tell him what it is, then I don't know what I'm talking about. And flat earthers are dumb, and he's just gonna go on being a heliocentrist. Okay, fine. You're 20 years old. I can't tell you what to do anymore.
Yeah.
My daughter's saying that to me. She's only 13.
But
But the problem is,
that's where you don't argue flat Earth with your children. You argue philosophy, because if that's their rebuttal, they've got bigger lessons to learn before they can tackle flat Earth.
Yep. You got it. Exactly.
But
that's just it, Adam. He's into all this philosophy for years.
And he's confused with it. With that rebuttal, he's clearly confused.
Yes. Go ahead, Brian.
But the problem, yeah, sorry, I was kind of stepping on a few people's toes there, including yours, QE, for a moment. The problem we have is, just like when you use the example of how, QE, you don't bring up all this with your friends at archery and that, because you know it's only going to alienate you, and because they see you in a certain way, they're not going to suddenly start seeing you as an authority in a different way. Do you know what I mean? It makes things awkward. The same, like, what's that thing? You'll never be a hero, or you'll never be something like that in your own town. The same thing in your own home. You're not going to be. They're always going to. I remember my father would never listen to what I tell him because I was his son. So if I tell him, he'd tell me there's someone else that knows better than that somewhere else. He always had some. You know what I mean? It's like, no matter how right I was, there was always some other expert that knew more.
Yeah.
You know, this kind of thing. It's never going to happen. So you end up becoming an internet persona, and people who don't know who you are, who've never met you, they've never shook hands with you, but they listen to you and give you more time than the people in the place you live in.
Yeah.
And it's just the natural way of things.
Yep.
Weird, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. So you have been your whole life with your parents, with your sister, and you know them, right? And then they know you, although you think that they know you, and then you bring them something that you researched, and it's never enough. It's never good enough. You're delusional, whatever, you know. You're never good enough, and I'm thinking they trust a total stranger.
Yep.
In a heartbeat, and also the government. That's even better. An example, they even trust the government better than they trust you. And I'm thinking, how? Right? I don't get that.
It's not based on clear thinking. And that's what I think Adam was getting back to. You have to establish the framework of clear thinking and reasoning first before you can go down certain paths. Is that what you were trying to get to, Adam?
Hopefully. I think he's having tea.
He went to get some more
He's gone
wine.
to get wine. We both said it at the same time.
Another flagon.
Finally, he could make his point, and then he's gone.
Am I back?
All right.
There he is.
That's what I was trying to say earlier. You were trying to make a point, and I think that I was just elaborating on some people's level. They're just not ready, right? You got to establish some clear thinking, critical thinking skills, and some reasoning capabilities. Is that what your point was previously?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're talking about what Neil, I say I'm not. But at that point, you can't argue flat Earth because the logic's faulty.
Yeah.
You've got to explain the logic, which I think we've just done.
Good point.
To Neil stating that. So.
Yep.
And that's important. It's easy with family members, especially when it's your kids, because you can make them to not move until they get the point. Yeah. But if that's the level of argument that you get in rebuttal, that's what you've actually got to deal with at that point. You haven't got to paint them a new paradigm. You've got to realise that their logic is faulty, their rebuttal is faulty. Sadly, if you do want to engage, that's where you've got to start, not banging on about flat Earth anymore, because the next thing that will come up will be rebutted in such a similar nonsensical way.
Yes. And it'll just go down the tubes, right? Yeah, so I agree with Adam. You have to establish those critical thinking skills first, not what to think, but how to think, right? And how to reason appropriately. That has to be established first. Now, you don't have to be a rocket surgeon, but I can tell when people aren't thinking clearly, and I think we all can, even within ourselves. Follow?
Even the most elementary of brain scientists require critical thinking.
Yes.
I see Mark
It's
Taylor.
something that's missing.
Adam just rumpushed you.
Sorry, Becky, go on.
I see Mark Taylor in the chat. I remember also back in the day, you tried to get him with the Coriolis QE.
Oh, they tried to. It was over.
It was over.
It was over for Mark on that one. I faintly remember that one day where Coriolis effect and he was done for. Every single way he turned, it was a flamethrower.
Yeah, and there was no cursing, no name calling, and I think whatsoever, if I can remember correctly. And I didn't have a chance to get that because the channel was deleted before I could download that.
Before you could download it. Yeah, I wish we had that one.
Yeah, and yeah, you know what I kind of like about Mark Taylor is that he asks questions all the time, right? And then he waits until he has something, and then he questions you again, you know. And then, but you just it was like playing tennis. You just sort of directed the ball every time back at him.
Well, he was playing checkers and I was playing chess.
Those things are what I wanted to allude to earlier when he was reminiscing. They're gone, aren't they?
Yes.
Because they were when we were at the Feast of Nonsense and ploughing through it all. And we were the only ones that had gone through it back then, and it was fun. Because there were people that you could, like we're doing now, reason with and have a decent chat with to work these things through. And we did a lot of that. And in different groups, you know, because those guys we hadn't really met then. But it was going off. And I miss them days where you were learning things, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
I enjoy when the experiments come out, when you guys do experiments and you bring it in and everybody analyze. I love that stuff. That's great for me. It's like, show me, you know? I want to see the stuff. I want to see things that match up with what I see when I'm walking around and looking at the environment, you know?
Experiments.
Yeah, that's whenever we get into science, boy, look the heck up, because it is a fight to the death. I had one last night.
I know. I wasn't there last night, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a fight to the death. That is a real stumbling block for people because they've been fooled. Even ones with actual science degrees have even been. Adam has the best story. Adam can tell you. Right?
Right, because at Beth, they're going to, yeah, right. I'm sorry.
No. They're it's going to. It's a stumbling block. I mean, even after so many years, and then of course it got down to last night. Well, what are your credentials, QE? You know, it gets down to that level, and when you're at that level, it's all over. But this science thing has really got people up in arms. I'm telling you, it's well, I don't have to tell you. Anyone brings any science topic, it's over, right? There's going to be mudslinging, friggin' mule kicks, pride coming out. It's bad. It's not a good place out there when science comes up.
Yeah, it's difficult when somebody attacks your life. Yeah, like, you know, your consciousness is difficult. I mean, it happens to you throughout your life, though. You'd think you'd learn, you know. You know what I mean? Yeah, my buddy's over here talking in the background. He's like, "That's what you did to me, you son of a bitch."
And there was someone asking you for your credentials last night.
Yes.
Huey.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
But what?
I got.
Yeah, that's when you know, though. Like, it's like
Yeah.
if that's like you need my education, you need to know my education before you'll decide whether I'm correct or not.
No, that
Yeah,
was
well, you could be
after.
at work, you know.
No, that was after I drug him around by his short hairs, him and his group, for about 45 minutes for not knowing what the hypotheses were.
Oh no, one of those. Huh?
And then they ask you for the credentials. Huh?
Some of those guys do. Oh man, it's like you got to get a sign that says "bang head here" and just keep banging your head until you finally get it.
Well, Adam is the poster child for this type of thing now, not with your average skank and fall BallTARD, but with somebody that was well versed in science, and it caught Adam off guard. He can speak to that.
Yeah, I used to iron me lab coat, thinking that made me a scientist. You know, if you put one on and it's clean and fresh, and especially if you've got goggles. Yeah, you need the goggles. You're not a real scientist, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you go along this journey, and you are
on these glasses.
Without glasses, you're not a scientist. You start on the journey, and you're told what science is, and along that journey, as you progress, you substitute what being a scientist is for. You forget. You're designed to forget. You substitute empirical methods for scientific methods and think that just because there's a level of empiricism in things, that means you're now doing science. You're mugged off into thinking that when you're dealing in technology, aerosols, you know, pharmaceutical sciences, formulation science, as it's described, that you're still doing science. Because you're not given the distinctions. You're not meant to be given the distinctions. You're meant to just go on and think that because you've got that lab coat and goggles, everything even when you put your money in the vending machine for a cup of coffee, you're a scientist. That's science, baby, because I've put money in.
Well, I've got a lab coat.
Cause and effect is coffee. Money, therefore coffee. Yeah, I'm doing science, baby. And there is that stark reality where you have to temper what science is, and it's very useful when you learn the original definition. It helps you categorize things and rank claims and explanations, and then you end up asking for science, knowing what science is, knowing that that's the thing that gives you proof for the real world, yeah, for the physical and natural world. That's what gives you proof. You realize there is none.
Didn't somebody get kicked in the nuts?
Yeah, well, all right. So then this smart ass comes along and points that out to you.
Was it the short bus that just went by?
It wasn't a kick in the nuts. I described it as a slap in the head with a wet fish. It was very Python-esque. Because it's a reality check. It's not a kick. Kicking the nuts is painful. Slapping the head with a wet fish is a reality check.
I thought you characterized it as a kick in the nuts.
I thought
it was a slap with a glove or something.
To the ego it is. But actually it's a reality check. No? But to the ego it is, because like I said, I've got a lab coat on. Go to the vending machine. Pause. Money. Coffee. I'm doing science, baby. I go to the spectrometer and I'll put in these samples that I've just graduated, so I can build a calibration chart. Right?
Is there such thing as
let me just make this point. As I've made all these different strengths of the same compound, and I'm going to create a calibration chart and I'll run it through the spectrometer. I'm doing science, baby. I'm my fudge. Yeah, that's the reality check.
Yeah.
Well, I found that a garden, a fruitful environment, when somebody pointed me towards Iron Realm back in the day, and that's where Adam was. I mean, he wasn't with us all the time well, you weren't with us at all back then, but somebody pointed me that direction, and they sent me a link, so I got a link, and I started listening to the show, and then Adam was giving a discussion on isomers, on trans and cis isomers. As soon as I heard trans and cis isomers, I said, I got him.
I remember the first conversation you guys had on Iron Realm Media, and you were being interviewed, QE, by Adam. And you would get on his case every time that he would talk about experiments and
Yeah, he still hadn't broken free, right?
yeah. And he was like very cordial, but like immediately retracting and thinking, okay, yeah.
That's reality dawning, Betty.
Yeah, that's cute.
You know me. If there's a point to argue, I'll argue it, won't I?
Absolutely.
If I'm yeah, being cordial, it's probably because I'm realizing.
Well, yeah, if you think you're right, you're going to argue. I mean, that's just how it works, right?
It's probably me realizing I'm wrong. But that went for a lot of people to
Okay.
John
All
D.
right.
I remember chatting with. So they did it to me, and then I think Nathan, you must have challenged, and Dr. John D comes in. I remember Nathan saying, "Am I going too hard at him?" Because I'm realizing no. It's just be honest, because that's what. He's, if nothing but honest, when he's chatting with you. You know what I mean? So that was the thing that convinced me, was just to go back to method. And I said that to Nathan, and that's where you see John D change. He did it. We did it with all the FE core guys, with Anthony Riley and that, describing what scientific method is, and meaning that when they did those amazing things across Lake Balaton with the Salad, the super accurate laser aiming device, all those things, they recognised they shouldn't describe it as an experiment, yeah, because they realised the importance, the significance that when you do these things, it has. So we, again, it comes back to what we were saying earlier. So we as a group, we're going to stop not doing what they've been doing to us. We won't describe the Lake Balaton stuff. We petitioned each other to not describe it as an experiment, because we realised how important, as good as the Lake Balaton was, we shouldn't describe it as an experiment, because it's more important for us to recognise that that's not an experiment than the supposed demonstration itself, the longevity of the course. Because the reason we've been mugged off is to think that science, and science does prove things, but anybody in a lab coat doing anything or claiming science means there's proof to it. End of the line.
From a layman's point of view, which is what I was on the subject. No, obviously I still am when it comes to the in-depth, knowledge of biology and things like that. I don't know all of that, but when I started learning about what scientific method was and what science really was, I didn't have any need to fight against it, because it's like, yeah, that's the distinction from all the other rubbish they're always telling us. It's science. This is actually science. It took me a while to get the grips with exactly, because it's actually very simple, but you complicate it maybe in your own head. Maybe that's what people do. But I just accepted it. Other than the learning of it, there was no problems. But with someone else, they just won't accept it. We see that with the opposition all the time. They just can't accept scientific method. And even people on our own side who are in opposition to us can't accept scientific method. It's like, it is what it is. That proves or disproves. That's it. It's, that's what you get. And you can't, use it for fantastical things that you just made up phenomena for. You can't do that. So it cuts all the rubbish away, and you're left with whatever you can actually prove or disprove. It's the same thing as I said earlier. All we have is some small knowledge of physics and some measurements. People don't want to accept that. They don't want to accept that we know so little, or that so little can even be proven, and they don't like that.
No, so much can be proven. Yeah, so much you can science. It's just very limited in what it ever proves when you're sciencing it. Yeah, there's so many things. Yeah, boiling water.
Proof is different. Yeah, then yeah.
Understanding is a very separate thing.
Well, yeah, but
And-
I like trailed off a little bit. My main point was that I found it easy to accept it. Which is only the difficult part was the learning of it. I had no fight against it. Whereas there's so many people in the world that are fighting against scientific method because they don't want that to be science. It is what it is. You know, it's like you're taking Batman's mask off, and he doesn't look like you want him to look, so you don't like him. It's like, do you know what I mean? I'm sorry, that's Batman. You know what I mean? He's
That's
bald.
the wet
whatever.
fish, Brian. That's the wet fish. Yeah, that's exactly how to describe. I didn't like it, but it was refreshing and a little bit salty. That wet fish, yeah. It reminded me of what the scientific method was. Do you get me? Whether you like it or not, it really doesn't matter. You were taught it, and you know what it is. You know when you're reminded of it how you've deviated, or not even necessarily deviated, how you've ascribed some of the things you do, which are just technology, as science. And that's the ego check. You're not always doing science. You're just doing a bit of technology, dude. Aerosols, gel formation, all the things I do and studied, they weren't. You know what I mean? All the things I did in a lab I thought was science weren't really. A lot of it was just technology formation. There was no cause and effect. Yeah, the science had already been done for me to be able to do these things. If you get my point.
Yeah,
build
like
on
computers
science.
and computers and phones and that now. The
Shampoo!
backbone of all that. Sorry?
Shampoo. Here comes the science. Yeah, the science of that wasn't in the formulation of the shampoo. Any science would have been done if there was any. Yeah, that's what they claim. Here comes the science. Let me put this shit together. Not the science, is it?
No, it's not. Just like your smartphone is not science. It's technology, but its backbone was science. You know, its backbone in quantum mechanics. Yeah,
exactly.
But it itself is not science. It's technology. You know, the same thing with medical stuff. You know, obviously they call some stuff medical science and this that. You know, you could say there's a branch of this science, a branch of that science. If you want to use maybe the word science as just knowledge on that topic. But as far as actually scientific proof goes, I mean, you know, you're not. If you're working in Apple, you're not doing science. If you know what I mean. You know what I mean? If you're working in Apple labs, sorry.
The science is done. The rest you're building on with technology. And like I say that in my field, you know, pharmacy, medicine, that's the truth. And I said that's the reality check. And there's not a problem with that because it's still freaking brilliant when you make gels and you know all these, all this stuff. How you can do that? It's still brilliant, still ingenious from man. It's not science, that bit. But the reason you could probably do it and develop it was because there were certain scientific things you'd already underwritten that you could move forward with, build the technology on. Cell phones is a great example, probably for QE to come on. It's not my field, but
well, I think you know, like you were saying, Adam, in your own field, that you thought you were doing science when you were doing chemistry, maybe. You know, as opposed to science.
No, parts of that are science, but yeah, I get you.
Yeah, but there's not just calling rather than there's nothing wrong if once you say you're doing chemistry or you're a chemist, that's good enough. You don't have to be proving cause and effect daily. You know what I mean?
No,
to be a chemist.
yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of it isn't. It's doing tests, things that have already been scientifically proven. So if I'm doing a titration, which I did so many of, so you could actually do it properly. You're just repeating a test. There's no cause and effect. Cause and effect has already been established for the test to be applicable to do. You're just doing test after test after test. No science, baby. And that's the humility part. Oh, that first year I wasn't a scientist. Just a lab rat.
How do you think, when I first when I first stumbled on out here, right? And all I heard was, well, if you believe in the flat earth, then you must deny all of science and physics. How do, put yourself in my position. What do you think that looked like?
The biggest eye roll ever.
Now, it's the biggest hanging watermelon-sized curveball, and I got this 43-inch Louisville Slugger, and I'm sitting there, OMG. You evolutionists had it bad, but you globe earthers are going to rue the friggin' day from here on out. They used to run
My favorite
around.
one, hold on, my favorite one is the rumpus. I think you should play that one day.
They used to run around. They named me Independent Variable John. I was laughing.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there.
Independent variable.
Independent variable. But they remember when they call independent variable John when they thought it was a slight? I'm sitting back here saying, it's over for you. I was like, well, thank you.
It's basically free advertising, you know?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
I was just going to say, isn't that a compliment?
Yes, that's the way I took it, but I didn't tell them that.
Of course not.
Yeah, he was giving you the nod.
Well, you know what's been a funny outcome of that is that once flat earthers, the average flat earther, including me, who doesn't have a background in chemistry or biology or anything like that, right? Who hasn't done any courses or completed any courses on what they would call science. A lot of the ballers did a kind of a ad hoc physics course 20 years ago or something, this kind of thing, and that, in their head they know what whatever science is as far as they're concerned. And these were the type of people who were all pretenders, and they were all attacking us years ago. Like, you know, with exactly what you said, QE. If you were saying the Earth is flat, then you must be denying all of physics and science, right? Which was a load of rubbish. But at the time, we didn't know it was a load of rubbish. We just knew that they were just attacking us with this claim.
Yep.
But over time, your average flat earther, like me, I know nothing about biology, but I know what scientific method is. I know what a hypothesis is, and I know what a hypothesis test is, right? And I know what a natural phenomenon is, and that's all I need to know.
Yep.
And consequently, you have flat earthers like me who don't have any background in anything. They don't have anything on the wall. They didn't do any course. And the only way that they were able to stop ballers in their tracks, and have been able, to the point now where ballers have had to start trying to, they either have to avoid this topic of science completely with flat earthers, your average flat earthers in this arena here, or they have to actually entertain scientific method. And that's where they're at. It's like they have to either accept scientific method or shut up about it. And that's what's happening. And it's an awkward place for them to be.
Yes,
They've
is.
actually, you understand why that is. Because they don't want that. They don't want to even hear about it. But they can't bring up science without that being brought up.
I remember I was back in the, it wasn't back in the beginning, but back when I got with Nathan, and I'm teaching him all this stuff. And right towards, maybe to the middle, towards the end, because I needed to keep him motivated, I said, listen, the knowledge you have right now, you can go up against the most supreme scientist in Globetardia and eviscerate him with little effort. And see, that was it. That was absolutely true then, and it's absolutely true now. But it got him so, I remember after I said that he got super focused.
That's the same point I was going to retort to Brian's is earlier on, somebody said, oh, what's your credentials? I've got credentials. QE's got credentials, yeah? Brian's just described the credentials you need to take these guys on, which is those definitions. It's all that's required. All that changed my. That's what slapped me with the wet fish. Those definitions, the reminder of those, they are the scientific method, okay? And they can't get out of that. And that's why the ballers try to attack it, calling it QE's method and all this ad hom nonsense of distraction. That's the reality of it. It's a cause and effect relationship. Yeah? When you remember that, whether wet fish or not, that's really empowering. And that's what scares them, because suddenly, whether you've got credentials or not, if you can state those definitions, it holds them to task.
Yep, but then you realize when you that's when you realize, when you boil it all down, it's a natural cause and effect relationships, and then it's suppositions into that and what an experiment is, and then you sit down and you think, okay, let's take a look at our subject area. Our subject area is whether the Earth is a globe or whether it's flat. Now, wait a second. Is that a natural cause and effect relationship question that we're trying to ask? Or is that a complete category error to natural science, meaning I've just exposed every single person that's made a scientific claim concerning the globe Earth? It's over. It's over abruptly, and it goes up in flames. So a lot of people, a lot of those globetards took that shit personally.
Because
I think they have a hateful grudge towards QE.
A lot of hurt butts, that's for sure.
Well, if it wasn't for Nathan and Bev, you would be the most hated person.
I think after that,
and flat side. Yeah.
I think after that, that's where science didn't prove anything came along.
Yeah, from the BallTARD's exactly right. That's where it came from. Right after they spent years and years of telling people that science proved the globe-tard. Now, it's right from their own mouths, and some flat earthers have taken up that flag. But now you hear BallTARD say science doesn't prove anything.
What about how they used to say the whole body of science?
Yes.
Remember that claim?
Yeah.
Well,
Bryce, before we go on, a new guest in, who's been twitching in his pants. Poor Mike, DJ Shifty Club. Dude, have you got something you want to say? You look like you want to. And welcome, by the way.
Server. What I have success with is just basically breaking down the math of the globe and making it very apparent that the horizon line and everything when it comes down to the Earth's 25,000 mile and 40,000 kilometer circumference curving at the Pythagorean theorem of 8 inches per mod square is not goddamn true. The horizon line should be 5 kilometers away. That's when you see the boat disappear and the hull and the sail and everything. 7 kilometers should have 12 feet of curvature. 10 kilometers should have 25 feet of curvature. And across Gull Lake here in Alberta, Canada, which is over 70,000 feet at 19 clicks, there should be almost 93 feet of curvature that the laser test proved was not there. There's also Taboo Conspiracy's new world record. What was it? 1,300 kilometers?
Yeah, with the microwave. I saw that
seen
video.
something the other day that was pretty awesome.
That was like...
I've seen the moon disappear.
Like 430,000 feet of missing curvature.
Yep.
Is that the Laura stuff you're talking about?
Yeah, it's fucking nuts.
No.
Portugal to the Canary Islands.
I don't think it was to the Canary
What
Islands.
do you mean missing
Go
curvature?
just shut up.
Neil, shut up.
I seen the Taboo video. I think it was it last week or just a few days ago. I seen it in my recommended and I pulled it up. And it was with I don't think it wasn't the Canary Islands, was it?
It was Portugal to the Canary Islands.
Location. They did use a radio wave in order to get across that, and the website is advertising that it's a direct line of sight connection from that distance.
Yes.
There is one from the Canary Islands that I do remember. It's like 250 kilometers or 260, which is still incredible.
It was from Portugal to... I'm sorry to interrupt you. You're right, Adam. It was from Portugal or something, right?
Yeah, Portugal to the Canaries. It was 800 kilometers, I think. I only watched it a week ago. I
It
only
was
watched it once.
830
So,
miles.
yeah,
830 miles.
there you go. I had 8 in my head.
Yo,
And
cheers, everyone.
what I did research on that is what this LoRa was. So it's very low energy. It's piss poor as far as you can tell for data communication. But it does travel a long way, and it's useful for, how would you guys say, buoys. Yeah, because I think that's what was what in the claim was what was happening was we were talking for a ship, and this is important. A ship on some high, top of a mountain in Portugal. It was a ship off the coast talking to a boy off the placed around North Africa somewhere, near the Canaries, as far as I remember. And that's the important thing. These things are really, really low down. The ship, and particularly the I'm going to use buoy. I like
What
it.
was
Buoy.
was that microwave or was it something else?
It's low range LoRa, it's called, isn't it? I'd have to research it again. I hadn't bothered to remember it, but I checked that it was
It's
low
not that
range. Is what the LoRa is kind of an acronym for.
Yeah.
And it's low energy, so you can stick it in really small devices. It needs next to nothing, like your phone, to be able to communicate a position and a transmission.
Well, I did see a thing. I read I think the U.S. military were looking at using, where they're using buoys, whatever you want to call them. That are 36 inches in length, and they would drop them. They would be able to have them at a distance of up to 60, 70 miles away from a fleet, like a U.S. Navy fleet. And
Are they called repeaters?
yeah, well, they're basically right at water level, and that tells them, the whole point of the buoys is that one of the uses of it is it tells them if a missile crosses their path, because the missiles they want to hit the ship low and they want to fly in low, so the missiles will fly in low, and they need to know as soon as possible, because those missiles are moving at such a rate. They need to know as soon as possible so that they can respond and try and destroy the missile before it gets to the ship. And that's one of the things they need. So it would have to be like it is line of sight they're using with these buoys. I don't know if it's the same thing, but it is. I remember when I read into it, it is line of sight that they're using with these buoys. It's not like a radio, like a big broadcast everywhere. It's straight back to home, which would be on the main ship or whatever. EPOR was similar as well, isn't it? Sorry.
Since this is a cleared, like you have to do the interview and stuff to get into this, I don't mean to assume, but I assume that most, if not all, people here believe in the geocentric or level Earth model.
Negative. There's no belief about it.
You just know it. It's
I know it for absolute fact, correct.
All right, perfect. So, have you guys heard of like Vibes of Cosmos or Divergence YouTube channels? And they believe that the moon is a map of the Earth, and it shows this map here, the Gleason map, with the continent in the center of Hyperborea, and also the other continents beyond.
Yeah,
that.
we've heard it.
That's not what they actually believe. They believe it's a historic plasma implantation of how the Earth used to be, stuck on the
Kind of
moon,
like a
isn't it?
carbon, like a photograph in the sky.
It's part of the get out, the mismatches, to claim that it's a historic plasma implantation.
Astonishing. For real.
You do realize that Gleason's map is a globe map. So
it was made by a flat earther.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. The
it's a
Gleason's
ball.
map. Go on, Adam. Yeah.
It's either a ball projection or a sun calculating device. It's not a representation of the surface, as in what you would assume a map to be.
I have an older map underneath it.
Brian says,
I've got a Gleason behind me.
Hold on.
Yeah, and I've got that one as well.
Hold
yeah,
on. Brian says, go ahead, Adam, and then Rumpus is Adam at every snap. That cracked me up. Go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, I did because he said sun calculator, because that's what it is. It's a time it's a time calculator. The latitude and longitude grid is correct. That is how it should be. That is the correct latitude and longitude grid. But the map underneath that grid in the Gleason's projection is incorrect. And
that's assuming the path of
so.
the sun and the equator is a true circle, because that's a fundamental premise. Imagine
well, no, because the latitude and longitude grid is not connected. It's not about the sun. It's based off of the GP point of Polaris.
That's one reference point. That's the mismatch, Brian, isn't it? That's one reference point within the formation of the Gleasons, yeah, as well as the projection from a ball, but it also uses the sun as well. So everything is positioned based on that, as also on top of your Polaris projection. That's what it's based upon. This is the mismatch. It's just it's a shit shambles that no flat earther would want. Like I say, I've got one behind me, dude. Shifty crib. Not far, about the same distance, yeah. But it's it's part of the feast of nonsense, and to recognise that is useful. To reify it is foolish.
Yeah, we're gonna stop it right there for today. Adam, I'm not gonna have you take us home because it's too much on the spot. I think Betty, are you still there? You had to leave us.
We can be certain about the Earth being flat and the fucking.
Hold on a second, guys.
Wait, just that was taking us home. That was the after what we've discussed tonight. For me to just say, don't reify that Gleason's. Realise,
yes,
yeah, and say, yeah, that is taking it home. Just take that point, guys. Because even when you're discussing, and I'm not attacking you, Shifty Crib, yeah, you're a fellow flat earther. And as a fellow flat earther, I want to share with you that don't reify that dude. So many assumptions which are spherical in nature before you can get to that. Yeah.
Right.
Take that learning.
You could carry on. Just hold on. You could carry on that conversation in the after show, but it's time to sew up shop, like I said. Okay? So Adam, I'm not going to put you on the spot to take us home. Betty, I think is Betty gone?
No, I'm still here, but I'm not taking you home. You're already there.
Yeah, I figured you wouldn't. So listen, it was a great show today. I hope, hopefully, there's many people out there that got a lot out of this. I know I have.
You really have?
Say again?
You really, really have?
I have. Yep. I think it was a good show. There was a lot of good points made. A lot of people got to finish their thoughts, which I really liked. But
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna wrap it up. You guys are on mute right now. You can finish up that conversation here on your own, and we could delve into it more on BALLBUSTERS this Saturday. But we're gonna finish up the evaluation of the globe dumpsters. Not only it's not so much Jaron, it's that Alan idiot. We're going to get into more of what he was talking about with the Michelson-Morley non-experiment. But I appreciate all you guys, but it's time to roll on out of here, man. We've been going for nearly 4 hours, so I'm getting a mite peckish, right? And I got to take care of some things. So like I said, I hope you got a lot out of this today, and we'll catch you on the flip side. So QE and the show out.
Only when there's gravity.
Sorry, only when there's gravity? So you're just going to beg the question of this non-force? Sorry, why on earth would you beg the question of this gravity when, number one, mass does not attract mass? That is 106 years out of date. And the current rhetoric of gravity, Einsteinian bending pseudo-force space, isn't a force.
If I put an aircraft in a ballistic trajectory...
Who gives a shit? We're talking about gas. I'm still yet to get an answer where you get the pressure. You said gas will press on me. I'm on the ground. Gas pressure. Where'd you get the gas pressure from?
Gravity.
No, gravity's not a force. Gravity is things going down. Gas does not do that. It's about the 8th time I've told you.
Gas does do that.
Oh, gas go down, go boom, boom. Like bouncy balls. So which gas is produced in the sky?
Which gas is produced in the sky?
Yeah, to go down.
I have no idea how...
None of them, you fucking clown.
Say that again, I didn't hear you.
None of them are produced in the sky and coming down like fucking rain. Gas isn't produced in the sky. It's produced at ground level and makes its way up. Up, not down. It's coming out of the fucking ground and going up. It's not coming down like rain. It's not produced in the fucking clouds. Gas is going up from ground level, not down. Understand that it's coming out of the ground and going in all directions away from the ground where it was produced.
Agreed.
Right, so it isn't going down then, you fucking idiot. We haven't got pools of helium.
We have pools of helium at the...
No, we fucking don't!
Yes, we do.
Oh, really? Where do we find these pools, puddles of helium? Show me a picture of one.
Spread evenly over the... Well, it's invisible, so it's a bit hard to...
Sorry, invisible pools of helium?
We have pools of helium...
Are you high right now?
Well, it's invisible.
You unlock this door with the key of
retardation.
Beyond it is another dimension. You're moving into a land of
bullshittery.
You've just crossed over into
the numpty zone.
You are so dumb. Damn.